Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Jack. Nice to see all of you. It's about time. Our event will be start right now, about to start right now. So please say hi to me if you can hear my voice loud and clear. I want to see it in the chat box right now. I want to see your hands. Put it into the air. Okay, say hi to each other too. It's a good day, right? Okay, let's begin. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's very nice. That's very nice of you. All right. Actually, it's the good afternoon. It's in the afternoon now. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. I'm Jack, editor of Ringer Events in Taiwan, and your host for this event today. We're pleased to welcome you the Asian Food and Beverage Ingredients Summit with the theme Nutrition Revolution, the Good versus the Bad, Finding the Right Balance. This is our second event highlighting the importance of health and nutrition in the development of new products. Before we start, let me acknowledge our esteemed business partner, the Carry Group. Special thanks to Miss Ming Rodriguez and Mr. Harsch Koshti for their unwavering support. Thank you. I would like also to acknowledge our association supporters, the British Chamber of Commerce Philippines, Majelis Ulama Indonesia, GAPMI or the Indonesian Food and Beverage Industry Association, and the Philippine Chamber of Food Manufacturers. Thank you for being part of our conference, and we look forward to seeing you again in our future events. Earlier in this year, we held two health and nutrition conferences already, each attended by more than 2,200 delegates from Southeast Asia and beyond. This conference today continues on our mission to help manufacturers of food, beverage, and nutritional supplement understand the trends and develop and innovate high quality products. We're also featuring what's new in Halal standards and certification process too, as this an area that is very important not only in the regions but across the globe. As you know, the pandemic has made a huge impact on the global food and beverage consumption. Consumers now seek products that help support physical, emotional, and mental health as well. They, you, and I want not only healthy products but delicious products too. As manufacturers, how do you do this? This brings us to the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a look at our agenda today. We have six speakers, and in the middle, we have a networking time. During the networking time, please seize your chance to go to the event booth or try to private message, to each other. We are here to making friends today and also to gain some knowledge too. The six speakers, I will announce their names when it's their session one by one, and I'll introduce them to you later. Now let's go to our live presentation. All right, our first speaker is Mr. Harsch Koshti. Beverages not need to be tasteless and boring. In fact, some healthy beverages are even unpleasant. But how can you create a drink that is both tasty and refreshing? Okay, welcome our first speaker. He can help us to understand that more. Harsh is the marketing director of Taste Technologies at Kerry in Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa. And his presentation is titled Formulating Healthier Beverages and Maintaining the Right Taste. Let's all welcome Harsh Koshti and his wonderful presentation.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for introducing me. My name is Harsch Koshti, and I'm happy to present to you formulating healthier beverages, yet maintaining the taste. And let's look at over the course of the next 25 to 30 minutes what are the options, what are the challenges, and what are some of the solutions that exist today to make the beverages tasty and healthy. Let's first start by looking at a small video which encompasses all the things around beverages, around the challenges, and around some of the things that are happening. Welcome back. Taste plays a key role in meeting all the consumer and market needs today. As we speak, there are 2 billion people on the planet who are overweight, obese, or want to consciously reduce the weight. This, while this is one problem, the value consumers want today is more than ever from beverages, from food products. Taste continues to be the king or queen when it comes to making choices. There is a fair amount of moderation that's happening for health reasons. And it can be seen from the fact that today 32% of the global alcohol drinks, we see that the launches without alcohol or reduced alcohol are increasing. There's an increased demand for nutrition, conscious positive nutrition, with a 44% increase in the launches of low calorie, nutritionally optimized products in the space. We have been mapping all these products from as far as 2015, and we see the trend continuing. Clean label and natural, there is a huge demand for that. Some numbers on the screen for you. 65% of the global consumers consciously search and want products which are either natural or clean label. They do not want artificial products. Countries today are becoming more conscious. There is an increasing taxation happening around sugar. There is even some discussion happening around taxing products with high salt. This is to encourage consumers to buy more products which are healthy, and for brands to make more products which are healthy. Consumers are looking for different ways, alternative products like alternative dairy, alternative protein, plant protein. All these things are in demand in the beverage space as well as the food space. And most importantly, the days are gone when the product had to be good only for yourself. It has to taste good, it has to look good, it has to do good, and it has to be good for the planet. Only when all these products, all these equations come together, a product can be truly said to be delightful, to be truly said to be satisfying the consumer needs. It's difficult, but it's evolving. And there are many questions that exist today. The product has to be low sugar. I'm going to focus the presentation on beverages and more importantly around the calorie reduction or the calorie optimization by reducing sugar. Sugar will be the focus for the presentation today. And I would encourage you to pay attention and to ask me any questions at the end of the session. I'll be happy to take your questions. And if there are any questions which require elaborate explanation, we could always take it later on. To begin with, some of the questions I have put on the screen, these are not all, these are just some of it. A beverage can be low in sugar, can be reduced sugar, can be less in sugar, can be without sugar, can be with artificial sweeteners, can be with beet sugar, can be with aspartame, the declarations, acesulfam K, stevia, alternative seed sweeteners, can we use honey, can we use beetroot, what would be the declaration? The questions are very many. And I've tried to explain this in the next few slides. My next slide talks about first fundamentally understanding what is sugar. Well, sugar is a natural oligosaccharide for the science from the science point of view, but that one ingredient means a lot. It does play in multiple dimensions when it comes to having an impact on the taste. When you reduce sugar, many things happen in the beverage. Number one, the sweetness reduces. That reduction in sweetness builds the sourness. You makes the product more sour. Taking example of typical orange juice, you'll find it to be more sour. You would also find it to be more bitter because of the reduction in sweetness. The mouthfeel is reduced, meaning you will feel it very diluted. You'll not find it cessation. You'll not find it filling your stomach because the viscosity drops in. There is no one dimension, there are 4 dimensions which have an impact, and therefore it's important to look at a solution which addresses these multiple dimensions than just trying to build the sweetness. Sweetness is important, but the other factors are equally important as well. When it comes to building the sweetness, there are 3 again key pillars. One is the upfront sweetness, the sweetness that you get when you put a product on your tongue instantly, like a candy. The middle sweetness is when you are starting to enjoy the product and taking it inside. This typically starts from 1 to 6 seconds from the time you start to consume a beverage. And the last part is the late lingering. This is typically after you have gulped the beverage. This typically starts after 15 to 20 seconds of having the beverage. Unless the consumer enjoys all the 3 parts, the upfront sweetness, the middle part, and the end part, he or she would not like the beverage if it's only addressed in the initial part or in the middle or in the end. We need to address the complete sweetness profile. And how we do that is what I'm going to explain in different examples. I would be taking 3 examples in today's session. The 3 scenarios that I have built for you, there are many scenarios, but these are just simple 3 scenarios, and these are important ones. First scenario is I have a product which has 10 bricks of sugar in it, meaning it's sweet, it's delightful, but it's also very heavy in sugar. To reduce the sugar, I can reduce the sugar by up to 30%, let's say, to make it low sugar product. That means a 3 bricks reduction. The second is to have a very low sugar product, meaning from a 10 brick sugar, I could go as low as reducing 50% of the sugar added and keep it to just 5 bricks of sugar or 5% of sugar. The third part is the no sugar product, wherein there will be no sugar at all added, and this can be achieved yet maintaining the taste of the product. How can it be done is what we will be seeing in the next few slides. My first scenario is when we'll be reducing the sugar by 30%. Now what happens when you reduce a product by 30%? First thing, when the product is with full sugar, 10% or 12%, it has an upfront sweetness. It has a good mouthfeel. It has no aftertaste, a clean palate. When you reduce the sugar, the mouthfeel decreases, the sweetness decreases, and that is what makes the feeling that the product is diluted. The product is not equally delightful. How can this delightfulness being can brought back. That can be done by adding flavor modulators. Now, for curry, we call the flavor modulators as the curry taste sense. So the curry taste sense are natural sugar solutions which can be added to as low dosage of 0.05 to a max dosage of 0.01%. These dosages 0.1% to 0.05% can be added into your beverage products to make it more delightful. These are natural. These are extracted thanks to a biofermentation technology. They are 100% natural and they can be added to your beverages in liquid or powder form. When you add these products, you get the mouthfeel back, you get the sweetness back, and the product is as delightful as it was earlier, although with 30% less sugar. Well, this was the first scenario. The second scenario is slightly more challenging when you have to reduce 50% of the added sugar, which means a product which has 10 bricks comes down to just 5 bricks. And to do that, once you do that, you not only lack sweetness, mouthfeel, you get more bittery, more astringency, more citrusy, more bitter character. Speaking typically about a orange juice, you would have all those challenges coming in. As you see the graph below, the dark blue graph shows how much the mouthfeel has reduced, the taste has reduced, and it would no way be acceptable product by the consumers. So to bring the mouthfeel, the taste back to the original level, we need to do two things. One is to add a high intensity sweetener. High intensity sweeteners would be sweeteners like acesulfam K, like stevia, like Reb M, Reb A, stevia extracts, which can build the upfront sweetness. Now, when you add these solutions, they bring some off taste with them, some bitterness with them, some masking challenges with them, and these are the products. These are the challenges that we'll have to address through the curry taste sense. So, as you can see on the graph here, the mouthfeel is brought back by addition of the curry taste sense. Similarly, the masking, because of the bitterness, the masking can be addressed by adding the curry taste sense. Overall, a product which is 50% reduced sugar can be brought back to a good acceptable amount of sweetness by a combination of high intensity sweeteners plus the curry taste sense. And the declaration would be from a curry taste sense, it would be a natural declaration, a natural flavoring. And if you're using high intensity sweetener, the declaration would be high intensity sweetener plus whatever sugar you've added, the sugar declaration. So that's the 5 bricks or the 50% reduction of sugar that can be achieved. This is the second scenario. The third scenario is, of course, the most challenging one, where you're not adding any sugar in it, but you want the look and feel, the taste to be just like a full sugar solution. Now, to do that, you will have to add high intensity sweeteners. Now, high intensity sweeteners, as I mentioned earlier, would be with aspartame, with acesulfam K or Reb M, Reb A, and so on. When you add the sweeteners, you would get the upfront sweetness, although you have the bitterness setting in and the aftertaste, which is not pleasant, setting in after some time. On this curve, this peak is typically at the 6-second part. On the right hand side, you see the time. On the left hand side, you see the intensity. So when you use a natural sugar, the peak intensity sets in around the 5 to 6 second period. When you use a high intensity sweetener, the peak is achieved slightly late, so which means there is delayed release of the sweetness. It's equally sweet as that of natural sugar. Let's take this example of orange juice, which I have plotted on this graph. At the 10th or the 12th second, you will have the complete sweetness setting in. Now, what happens later on is the sweetness drops. Although the sweetness drops, there is a resurgence of bitterness and of off taste, which is not desirable. And that's what I have put on the slide. There is aftertaste, there is no mouthfeel, and there is no impact. And this can be addressed, therefore, by building in the mouthfeel. As you can see in this part, we have tried to build in the mouthfeel with the curry taste sense. We have tried to build in the masking so that not only is the sweetness balanced, the masking is also balanced. the bitterness is taken care of, and therefore you will have the product which is sweet, which has a delightful mouthfeel, and it gives the body back to the product. This is the third uh, solution. If I have to explain the curry taste sense, I've been referring to it on every slide. We saw three scenarios. Scenario one, where we reduce the sugar by 30%. Scenario two, when we reduce the sugar by 50%, and the third scenario, when we did not add any sugar to it. Curry taste sense works on 5 dimensions. The first dimension is it works on the sweetness part of it. It builds in the sweetness. The second dimension is it works on the masking part. Masking is especially important when you are having protein-based beverages, uh, plant-based dairy beverages, or plant dairy or non-dairy as we call it. That has a lot of soy and nuts and grains, which has its own challenges when it comes to masking. So that can be addressed through the curry taste sense solutions. The third part is the mouthfeel, bringing the body, the main part, back to the beverage. Salt is not really relevant when it comes to beverage, but it's relevant for snacks and noodles. The fifth part is the sensations. Sensations is working on the trigeminal sensations of heating, cooling, and tingling. This is very relevant when it comes to carbonated soft drinks and also with low calorie alcoholic beverages, where you need to give the tingling feeling to make it look like a really high alcohol content product, tasty product, but not really through adding alcohol, but through adding the taste sense solutions. These are the 5 dimensions on which Kerry taste sense is based. It not only addresses the ask of the market of the consumers to reduce the sugar, to make it nutritionally optimized, but to also make it more delightful, more sensorily indulgent. So sweetness, masking, mouthfeel, and sensations. These are the areas on which the Kerry taste sense plays. My next slide talks about what are the options that are available in the market and how Kerry taste sense plays a role. What is the space for the Kerry taste sense flavor modulating property solutions? If you look at on the left hand side, you have the ease of use, regulatory challenges or the regulatory declarations, clean label requirements, the cost in use. I have used the color coding of green, red, and orange. Across is what means it's a no-go. A tick mark is means what can be used. A green tick mark means it's a 100% perfect solution, and an orange tick mark means it's a solution but with some set of watch outs. Artificial sweeteners like ASK, acesulfam K, sucralose, and aspartame are very easy to use. They, however, do not have a clean taste, hence there's a cross mark. They cannot be declared as clean label. They are not suitable for children, consumption of children below the age of 12 years. So that's where again there's a challenge. The cost in use is low, so therefore there's a green tick mark because they are very cost effective. Stevia is a natural sweetener, is very intense when it comes to sweetness. Reb A, Reb D, and Reb M are specific molecules which can be looked at. With the ease of use, they are relatively easy to use. A fair amount of knowledge around the chemistry and science is required before the application. We can help you with formulating and with creating the beverage recipe for that. Clean taste is not there. There is a masking challenge, there is a bitterness challenge, there's an off notes challenge, so there's a cross mark. It is clean label because it's natural. The cost in use is slightly expensive as compared to the artificial sweeteners. There are certain polyols in sugars like erythritol, xylitol, maltitol. These can be used. These are very good for application in chewing gums, but not necessarily for beverages. They're not easy to use. They have laxative properties, which means if you have them more, you're likely to have a laxative, loose motion, dysentery, and there are certain side effects which comes with the consumption of these polyols. Clean taste is not there. Clean label not available because you have to declare them as artificial. Cost in use is decent. So that's one solution. When it comes to certain blends like maple, honey, agave, you can use those combinations, although they give a clean taste, but they're not necessarily ease of use, clean label, CIU, and also have a limited shelf life. So if you're looking at a retail product which is there on the shelf for 6 to 8 months, this is not the solution that you would want for. On the extreme right hand side, you see the Kerry Taste Sense. It's easy to use because it's available in liquid, powder, solutions, powder format, goes on a low dosage, gives a clean taste, is clean label because it's 100% natural, and it comes as the declaration is 100% natural. The cost in use is decent. It's not as cheaper as artificial sweetener, but it's not very expensive. So there's a orange tick mark there. So a combination of solutions can be worked to address the challenges of nutritionally optimized beverages to give a clean taste, low calorie, and a product which consumers would love to taste. This was the end of my technical slides. I'll go a little bit in detail around some of the sweetness, masking, and mouthfeel components that I spoke about. The challenges around sweetness does include, if I use only flavors, it would look very strong on the flavor. It lacks sweetness, is weak on the balance, and that can be addressed, as I mentioned earlier, with the Kerry Taste Sense, which gives clean taste, is extracted from plant, is extracted from natural sources, is through a proprietary biofermentation technology, and is easy to use. It balances and is great to be used in low cal beverages, better for you products, no sugar beverages, clean label, cost reduced products. And application wise, you can use it in various beverage applications. It not only provides the taste, the calorie reduction, but also is more sustainable. With a 20% reduction in sugar, you could reduce as high as 20% reduction in carbon emissions because you're not using sugar. You also reduce water consumption because sugar is a very water intense application. So less sugar is produced on the planet, lesser water is required, lesser carbon emissions on the planet. So by using taste sense, you're also doing good for the planet. Uh, it encouraging maximizing taste and optimizing the nutrition. Positively balanced nutrition is a big pillar for us, and this helps us to address that as well. Similarly, I'll quickly talk about some of the mouthfeel ones. Again, similar to sweetness, it does have an impact on the positive impact on the planet, positive impact on the body, gives you a better tasting beverage, a better tasting product, and is nutritionally optimized, positive, balanced nutrition. That's mouthfeel. And similarly, on the bitterness, it does give a similar set of advantages when it comes to bitterness masking. I would stop my presentation here and just in a nutshell explain to you, Kerry, our ambition is to inspire food and nourish life. We we want to create a world of sustainable nutrition, and we want to touch the lives of 2 billion consumers by 2030. Our approach is from farm to farm, and we achieve that by being climate positive, having a social impact, working with the farmers, regenerative agriculture, and believing in circular economy and circular solutions for the environment, creating more sustainable nutrition, more long-lasting sustainable solutions across food and nutrition that we play. I'll stop my presentation here. I've been talking about beverages and how to nutritionally optimize the beverages. I'll look forward to your questions and trying to answer them as much as I can.
Delegates, thank you. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, delegates. That was a very informative presentation. Delegates, you are welcome to visit Kerry's virtual booth to learn about their latest innovations too. Their booth manager, Andrew Ann, will be happy to answer your queries. For now, go to our Q&A. So, dear delegates, please send in your questions for Harsh in the chat box right now. And Harsh, please turn on the microphone and camera. Join our the Q&A platform. All right. Hello. Okay. This is the Q&A platform, and I have published the first question for you. Oh, you have to unmute. We don't hear your voice yet.
Thank you so much.
Great. Yes.
I'm happy to take the first question, which is, can the solutions, the Kerry Taste solutions, be used for sports and energy drinks, and what is the shelf life of the Kerry Taste solutions? So the answer is yes, they can be used in sports drink, energy drinks, and many beverage applications. The shelf life of the Kerry taste sense is between 1.5 years to 2 years. Depending on the format, the shelf life can be as high as 2 years and minimum 1.5 years. So that's answering your question. Let me check if there are any more questions.
All
Just give me a
right.
second. Okay.
The next one you would like to answer? Okay.
Yeah. Beyond sugar, what are the other ingredients which can be reduced to make it healthier and calorie optimized? That's a fantastic question. So, to make it healthier, you can look at three, four different dimensions. Essentially, we all know that sugar, salt, fat. These are these are the three key elements to look at when you want to reduce, make it more healthier. From a specific calorie point of view, you could look at reducing fat in the product. When it comes to beverage, fat doesn't play a role, but when it comes to biscuits and some other applications, you could look at reducing fat. We can help you with the formulation, we can help you with the recipe and work with you to ensure that we can not only optimize the calorie but create a great tasting product. Um, I would look at some more questions.
Okay.
Uh,
So
so-
in the
so-
meantime, also we have one expert from Kerry, which is Andrew N. Right in the chat box too. In the delegate chat box, answering your questions in text too. You're also welcome to ask more questions if you want to hear Harsh to speak out the answer to you. Okay, Harsh, let's pick the next
Andrew,
question.
a quick introduction. Andrew is the Business Development Director for Kerry Southeast Asia, and I have the pleasure of introducing him, and he's there on the call. He's there in the audience as well, managing the some of the questions. So thank you, Andrew, for that. There was
Thank
one
you.
interesting question that came. Which are the markets that we can look at benchmarking, uh, and what are some learnings relevant to ASEAN or specific to Malaysia or Singapore? Thank you for the question. The answer to that is there are many markets that we can look at. Uh, Australia is one great market, which always has some fantastic products which not only are low in sugar but also very tasty, refreshing. The second markets is certain pockets in Europe and also China. Of late, we see some fantastic beverages coming up, which are not only low in sugar but also tasty. What can we learn from them? The one thing that we can learn from them is impossible is nothing when it comes to creating tasty yet delightful beverage. And before we know, the trend catches up soon. We thought sugar reduction would never be. We in Asia or ASEAN love sugar. We thought low sugar would never be liked by us, but here we are uh, talking about the trend faster than later. So nothing is impossible. The last, how much time do I have, my friend?
I believe you can answer one or two more.
Okay, there is one question which is where is Kerry Taste Sense produced? We have multiple manufacturing facilities which from where we produce from Australia, from Europe, from the Americas, and we have a latest state-of-the-art plant coming up in Indonesia. So we are truly a globally present but locally available company, and we would be happy to cater to our customer needs from as close as possible. The last question, if you may allow
No,
me.
no, no, Harsh. Sorry, I have to say that you tackle with those questions really fast. I think in your speed you can answer like two to three more questions too. All right, pick the
Okay.
next one. It's fine. Yeah, pick that. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, can sugar be categorized as component to give more energy compared to active components such as taurine in energy drink? Um, well, the short answer is yes. Of course, it is. Sugar does give energy, and sugar is the easiest form of energy. And I'll try to simplify it, not sounding very geek or very technically intense. The advantage first I'll talk about sugar as an energy component is it directly gets absorbed by the bloodstream. The liver processes the sugar as fast as between the 8th to the 12th minute from the time of consumption, and the energy level stays put. So from a sugar assimilation and delivering the energy component, sugar has an advantage. the specific question was respect to taurine and with respect to energy drink, which is to give that spurt and the energy curve. From that angle, taurine, when combined with a bit of sugar and ginseng and some other extracts, always will give a more energy impact and the profile will be much better. From a cost point of view, it will be expensive, but from a energy profile point of view, because our aim in case of energy drink is delivering on energy, taurine will have an advantage. I hope I was able to answer that question. Um,
Yeah.
is there any other question?
Do we have? Okay, we have one more questions left. If you want to answer that or not, you can sum up as a conclusion for today as well.
Okay, I'm going through some of the questions. Um,
You like to take that? Okay.
okay, it's more of a statement. Um, you can reach out. There's a question around the slides, whether the slides would be available to us. Um, so I'll answer that. Yes, the slides. Please reach out to the organizers or to us. Uh, we would we would not be publishing it in the public domain, but we would prefer to send it directly to your email. Yes, they will be available. Uh,
Okay. So how can we just how can they reach you?
I'll drop my email in the chat box, and I'll be happy. I'm available at the exhibition for a good time now, and there are some lovely presentations lined up after my session. Please don't go anywhere. There are some lovely, very engaging speakers, and look forward to some good sessions now over the next course of the next 2 hours. And stay there, put in the questions even after my event, and I'll not miss any of your questions.
Yes, of course. And delegates, you can also leave the message, leave your question in Carrie's booth, right? The booth is at your left-hand side. You can take your time, visit their booth. They have several PDF to download and more information to understand of Carrie, right?
Thank you.
Okay, so to sum up, welcome you, joining our event today. Very happy, Mr. Harsch Koshti. I would like to see you in our future events too.
Sure, pleasure is mine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time today. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, delegates, remember just like Harsh said, and also Andrew in the chat box right now, they will provide more chance for you to understand not only carry but also those formulations and the taste problems as well. So welcome to ask, leave your contact information to them or ask more questions too. Okay, Andrew, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, so let's welcome our next speaker. Now, to discuss a hot topic in the industry is okay. I would like to show you all the way from Indonesia. Our next presenter is Jenny Kartika Rusli. Jenny is the business development director of PT Foodx Inti Ingredients. We invited Jenny to share with you the latest updates on natural extracts using animal proteins and other flavors like plant-based and other spices. Natural seasoning and their derivatives are truly indispensable. And here's Jenny to explain it all. Let's welcome Jenny. Give your big applause in the chat box right now. Jenny, you have the floor now.
Hi, good afternoon, delegates. So I'm very happy today to be here in this afternoon. I'm from PT Foodx, and today I would like to give a brief update on animal extracts and also on other ingredients. I hope we all can learn a bit more from our presentation today. So very briefly on the trend of protein consumption. So protein consumption between 2017 and 2050 has risen so much, and we are expecting it to be increasing rapidly as well. We have heard a lot about plant-based protein, there is a lot of rise and a lot of increasing interest in the plant-based protein. But today we would be mostly talking about the other side, which is the meat-based protein. If we have a look here at the graph, we can see that there is a strong correlation between the change in income and also with the protein consumption. So as we can see here, with the rise in the income, the protein consumption also increased. So we are expecting to see a lot of increase in protein consumption in the rest of Asia. So the rest of Asia is other countries other than India, Indonesia, China, Bangladesh, South Korea, and Japan. We would see a lot of increase in the protein consumption over there, followed by South Korea. If we have a look here in South Korea, actually the consumption is in the middle, and it's going up very steeply as well. So we are expecting a lot of increase in the protein consumption, followed by Indonesia. Indonesia is also actually quite low in terms of meat consumption right now. Hence, there are a lot of potential for increase in the protein consumption. China, on the other hand, we are seeing an increase, but the increase is not so much because they actually have a flattening in terms of the population increase. So over here, we can see an increase in protein consumption, but not so much as the others like the rest of Asia. So what drives the growth? Again, growth in the disposable income and also the higher urbanization rate. This will fuel the growth of the protein consumption. So as I said, I would be focusing mostly on the meat and seafood consumption and also the meat extract today. So this is focusing on the Asia projected meat and seafood consumption growth. If we have a look over here, we would see that there is an estimate increase of 30% by 2030. This is a lot, and it's also an estimated increase of 78% by 2050. This we can see here. Again, we can see a lot of growth in the rest of Asia. With China, there is an increase, but because the growth rate is not so much, so as we can see, the China in terms of the growth rate is not as high. Indonesia meat and seafood consumption is going to increase expected 3 times between 2018 and 2050. So in overall, we would see a huge increase in meat and seafood consumption in Asian countries. The reason being, a lot of Asian countries other than Japan and China, we are still developing. So in terms of the population growth and in terms of the income, there is actually a lot of expected increase in coming years, and this will fuel the growth in the consumption of meat and seafood. Before that, consumption of meat and seafood is difficult because of the lower income rate. But as people becoming more and more affluent, they will go towards increasing the protein content by increasing meat, seafood, and also to a certain degree plant-based for a more niche market. So we are looking here at meat extract as ingredients. So meat extract is an extracted form of meat. It can be in a powder form or in the paste form. And this is also gaining healthy growth with expected of 5 to 8% annual growth rate from 2021 to 2028. There are many reasons why meat extract is being used a lot as ingredients. The first one is the rising popularity of meaty flavor in processed food. So as we can see now, there are a lot of demand for processed foods and also for food service. Food service is increasing in terms of popularity rapidly, and they need something that can make fast food first more nutritious, and second also more flavorsome. And meat extract actually fit in as ingredients that can fit in this category. Also, increasing consumption of protein-rich diet. So again, as explained before, more and more people is getting more affluent, so they will turn more into the high-protein diet compared to previously where they can afford more of the carbohydrates. And also, meat extract impact in enriching food flavor. So these three is the main reason why meat extract is increasing quite a lot in terms of the growth rate. One of the key market grain is a plant-based meat substitute. Actually, plant-based meat substitute, a lot of them are also using protein, but it's just a different kind of protein like pea protein, soy protein, and other proteins. So it will still fit into the consumption of protein-rich diet, but it's just a different spectrum. So this is the meat extract market. As we can see here in terms of the market, North America is the highest in terms of the meat extract market. This is followed by Latin America and then Asia Pacific, excluding Japan. The growth rate is expected 5 to 8%, but Asia Pacific is expected to take over the leading stance of North America in the coming years. So this is where the high growth is going to be. And there are many types of meat extracts like chicken and beef, but chicken extract is the highest. So this is how it's segmented right now in terms of the meat extracts. There are different major types: chicken, beef, seafood, to a certain extent lamb also, but not so much. In a lot of the Asian countries, chicken plays the majority in terms of the meat extract because they are simply used in a lot of applications, and also because some countries are not using beef. I mean, like they are not including beef in their diet, for example. In the form of meat extract, it can be in the powder form. Again, powder is also the most commonly used form because it's very convenient, and in terms of the price, is also the most economical. Granules, paste, and oil. Purpose: there are three main purposes of using meat extract. The first is its culinary properties, so it contributes to the taste. And then we also have the nutritional properties, contributing to the high protein. And the third one is technical properties, which means that by using meat extract, it's possible to actually claim in the label. This is example of production of meat extract powders. So it started with meat or bones that were cut or minced depending on the usage, and then followed by cooking. And depending on where you go, it can actually just get evaporated, emulsified, and drying for meat extract powder, or it can also undergo enzymatic hydrolysis and Maillard reaction. So we can have a pure chicken or beef or meat extract powder, or we can also have a meat reaction powder. Beyond the pure meat extract powder, there are lots of opportunities for combining meat extracts with different kind of ingredients. One of them that is most common and will have, we think this will have a lot of features as well, is combining meat extract with spices for value-added benefit, because this contributes to the middle note, and it's also suitable for various culinary applications and formulations. And most important, it also adds complexity and the depth of the food. So it makes food interesting and less boring. This is just a nutshell of how meat extract is produced. Meat is put in the reactor machine, and it can undergo different kind of drying. In Foodex, we have 3 different kind of drying. We have spray dry, microwave, and also vacuum dry. This will give a different character and also different notes of the meat extract. Say, for example, spray dried meat extract will be more boiled and more brothy and more suitable for soup, whereas vacuum dried will be more meaty and also more roasted. This will undergo grinding, shifting, and also blending depending on the needs, and we can get pure meat extract as well. So this is example of using meat extract as flavor provider. This is just example of the market products. So these products usually utilize quite a fair bit of meat extract, say for example chicken powder or beef powder, and this is used as a replacer, or this is used as a bouillon to make your soup taste nicer, and also at the same time it contains chicken or beef powder to actually make it more nutritious and also more flavorsome. Now we go to the second part, which is the natural flavor ingredients. we will touch a little bit on the flavor ingredients because this is actually also very interesting. And also in the future, this will be used a lot in a lot of applications in food industry. So this is example of the flow chart. Say for example, garlic, onion, herb, and spices. We can actually make a different kind of products and do different kind of value addition to the products. We can turn it into a paste. We can turn it into fresh or raw onion paste, raw garlic paste, or we can actually do a fried garlic or fried onion paste as well. Then we can also have a fried garlic oil, fried onion oil, for example, and also powder. So there are many different value addition that we can do to a simple commodity of garlic and onion and other herbs and spices. This is example of what we can do with the garlic and onion, for example. We can do roasting. So from roasting, we would get roasted garlic break, for example, and then we can do grinding, shifting, and also blending. It's very important for flavor ingredients to have a uniform blending because, as we know, for flavor ingredients, it depends really on the season, on the place of harvest. So we would like to always make sure that there is a standard range, there is a range, but it's actually minimized so that this will make the life of our customers easier by actually minimizing the variation. So how do you use natural ingredients as a flavor provider? This is example of products in the market as well. There is onion paste or a garlic paste, and this actually really helps in terms of cooking in the end consumer, and also it's being used a lot in the industrial. This is just example of using derivative of onion and garlic to replace the fresh materials. Say for example, onion powder and onion flakes. You can actually have a conversion on how to replace that for certain types of onion, and also same thing as well. How do you use garlic powder? How many tablespoons can you use to replace a clove of garlic, for example? So this is actually trying to make a value addition from fresh materials, because fresh materials, we know it's good, but sometimes there is fluctuation in terms of the supply, fluctuation as well in terms of the characteristic. So we are trying to make it standardized as much as possible. So this is example in the market as well. There is minced onion, chopped onion, and different kind of garlic derivatives like garlic paste, and then also garlic powder and minced garlic. So what is interesting is when animal extract meets other natural flavor ingredients. This is where we think the future will be. Just to have a look at the seasoning, for example. If we can have a look here, seasoning for different kind of food, for instant noodle that you eat, for the processed meat or sausage that you eat, for various potato chips or various snacks. All those seasoning contains the same basic building blocks. So the biggest building blocks is the fillers. The fillers is like sugar, salt, maltodextrin. And on top of it, you can have enhancers, which is like MSG, I plus G, HVP, extract, and various kind of flavor enhancer. And the middle note is contributed by flavor ingredients like herb and spices, garlic and onion, and meat extract also as a base note, because it contributes to the flavor and also it contributes to the body. And on top of it, there is top note. This is the liquid flavor essential oil that actually give a lot of the aroma. So as you can see here, by combining the herb and spices and also the base note from meat extract, we can actually have a very powerful tool to actually contribute to the overall flavor provider part of a seasoning. This, I think, have a lot of features. And just to close off the session, we are going to summarize the flavor trend for 2022 and beyond. We are just highlighting two. There are of course a lot of different trends, but the main one will be authentic, and the second one is spicy. Authentic means that regional cuisine and authentic flavor. This will gain a lot of traction. This we have already seen in our own home country, like in Indonesia. We see a lot of revamping of Indonesian traditional cuisine, and it has been now it has been modernized as well. So it's no longer the cooking at home, but you can actually use the Indonesian traditional flavor, fuse it together with a modern way of presenting. Say, for example, combining it together with fast food, combining it together with fried chicken, and so on. Spicy will gain a lot of popularity as well, because we have a lot of young population, not only in Indonesia but also in a lot of developing countries. There are a lot of young population, and usually they are more keen to explore on flavors. And spicy is one of the flavor that has been ongoing trend as well. So spicy, not only just chili, but they want to know the specific spice beyond just hotness. So maybe like Sichuan pepper, maybe cayenne pepper. So they are referring to a specificity. We believe that in 2022, people will look for more bold and also more authentic flavor. And the flavor that they are looking for as well, like sour, bitter, and tangy, this also will be going on strong. This started also from Korea. So Korea, as we know, has been very popular because of the recent COVID. A lot of people has been watching K-drama as well, Korean drama. And surprisingly, this has actually made a lot of people get interested with Korean food. So we see that Korean food will have a trending effect at least for the next 5 years to come. Umami, yes. This is the basic taste from Japan, and now is umami and kokumi, giving a pleasure and rounded taste in products. And lastly is a healthier and natural ingredients. Healthier and natural ingredients means that usually less or no MSG and less preservative, using natural color, natural meat extract, natural ingredients with less trans fat. Again, for international and Asian delight. For international delight, there is a lot of trending from food truck and cook show. Still focusing on the spicy, meaty, grilled, cheesy, and salsa dish, and also sausage dish. From the bistro cafe, they usually target the top note, which is they like cheesy, they like meaty, and also depending on how things are prepared. For example, they like to have caramelized onion, roasted, toasted onion, or fried onion, for example. Cooked meat, barbecue. Barbecue is very popular internationally. And chili we have mentioned before. And creamy and more mouthful. Creamy here is a combination of creamy flavors like cheese and also a more rich flavor like carbonara and others. For Asian, we see here the main trend is from fried chicken. Fried chicken has been popular and will always, at least for the next 10 years, we believe will be still popular. But fried chicken also has undergone a lot of evolution, not only simple fried chicken, but also going from different style, from Taiwanese fried chicken, Korean fried chicken, to the more traditional Western fried chicken. And for cooked meat, there are different kind of cooked meat that is inspired by Asian flavor, like Japanese Wagyu, for example, and also chili. Chili also is popular in Asia. So one of the way where in which Foodex has also developed combining meat extract and also flavor ingredients is in our sambal. Sambal is an authentic Indonesian sauce made from chili. And this is available in different kind of flavor, like sambal mata from Bali, sambal rica from different from Manado, and sambal korek, sambal bawang from Surabaya. So different region have different sambal, and this is the perfect way where we can combine meat extract together with flavor ingredients to actually boost up the flavor. Okay, so lastly, I'll just close it off with a little bit introduction of FoodX. Thank you very much for listening to our talk today. We are from FoodX. So FoodX, basically, we always try to find innovative way to provide value to our customers. We have an integrated teams from our manufacturing, our QA/QC, and our very innovative R&D teams. And we have HACCP, GMP, and we have upgraded ourselves, and we got FSSC 22000 as well. Our vision is to be the most preferred business partner for taste solution and also for value-added food ingredients from Indonesia. We can provide and support our customer with competitive taste solution, and we always want to have a superior service. So rest assured that wherever you are in the world, we can actually serve our customers. So thank you very much for the opportunity today. So please join us for the live Q&A session. And please do drop us an email if you have any inquiries at sales@foodxingredients.com. Thank you very much.
Hello, dear delegates. Welcome back. Let's welcome Jenny to our how to say this, to our platform of the Q&A. Hello, Jenny. If you could please turn on the microphone and camera and join the Q&A, and I'll delete questions before.
Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Thank you, Jack. Thank you
Hello,
for having me here
hello.
today. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great presentation. I like that very much.
Thank you.
So please pick the first question to, you want to answer first.
Sure. Let me publish this. Okay.
You do that, or do you need me to publish the question for you?
I'm just trying to actually publish it, but it's not.
Like this?
Okay, yeah.
No, you have to go to the Q&A mode, the button, right? Click that, and we
Right.
can, on the right-hand side in the chat box. Yes,
Okay,
I
sure.
told you.
All right.
Yeah, so delegates, we have different platforms for you. Okay, this is only for speakers, so yeah, we have to use this technique. Okay,
Okay.
so Jenny, please read this question and answer into the delegates,
Okay,
please.
sure. So, how is natural extract market, animal or mother crop in Indonesia, and which industries are ready? Okay, just to answer the questions about how is natural market extract market over here in Indonesia. So, in Indonesia, actually, it's a rising trend to have natural extracts. Natural extracts can be divided into two. One is meat-based, and the other one is plant or spice-based, and both are gaining popularity actually in Indonesia. The main reason, as I have mentioned before, is because of the rise of processed meat in Indonesia. So we have here a lot of needs for processed foods. So processed foods from food service like restaurants, also from various kind of processed meats and also snacks. And these products actually require flavor, a nice flavor, as well as nutrition content. So they often add meat extract and also natural extract be it plant-based or spice-based, to their products. So over here, we can see that there are actually a lot of markets that are requiring extracts, and this range from food service, from processed meat, from snacks, also to noodle industry.
That's very good. Okay, let's move to the next one. Do you want me to publish that for you?
That should be fine. Okay.
Ah, great. You did
Okay,
it.
good. Yes, thank you. So the second question is, usually natural extract players or companies are from European region. How Foodex can play in that segment? So, okay, again, it's true that for a lot of meat extract companies, usually European companies are very superior. But in Indonesia, we do have an advantage over here because we are actually very close to the source, especially for spice and herb paste. A lot of Indonesian is known as a spice island. And actually, our government program is also Indonesia spicing up the world, which therefore means that actually Indonesia is very rich in spices. So this is actually a very big advantage for Indonesia and also for Foodex because we can get a lot of sources of raw material ingredients here, and we can actually process and value add over here to actually serve all over the world. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for Indonesia and also for our companies to play in this part.
And also for myself, I'm very interested. I heard some terms you mentioned in your presentation about some Taiwanese tasty or Chinese tasty.
Yeah.
Really looking familiar to me. Yeah. I'm from
Yes.
Taiwan, by the way, delegates. So yeah,
Yes.
I was shocking. Oh, that one can do too. Yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. Actually, a lot of Indonesians are now liking also hot pot. Hot
Oh,
pot is also a combination of where you actually can put a lot of meat extract because obviously you need a lot of good broth to actually have a nice broth for the hot pot. So that is
yes, like
one.
from pork
Yeah.
or beef, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's a very good example where actually meat extract combined with a lot of spice and herbs. Spice and herbs can be like, for example, mala pepper, like the Sichuan pepper, for example. They combine that with the miti. Over here, they will choose chicken or beef because most of our Indonesian
Ah,
counterparts
yeah,
are halal. But
of course.
yes, that's a very perfect example of meat extract combined with plant-based or spices, actually. Jack, thank you.
Very great. Okay, let's come to the next question, shall we?
Yep. All right. So the next question is, how can you add natural extract to make nutritious food become delicious or not boring? So this is actually related to Jack's question as well just now, and maybe it's touched on a little bit in the presentation. So nutritious food, people often associate that as bland or not as tasty compared to not so healthy food, but that actually doesn't need to be the case because with nutritious food what we can do is we can actually add flavor component to it. So flavor component can be natural or non-natural. Obviously if we are talking about nutritious food, then it's good to actually choose the natural parts, and these natural parts can be from meat extract. Meat extract can actually enhance the body, the mouthfeel. So, for example, if even if we have, for example, plant-based or even plant-based is supposed to be. I mean, a lot of people thought of it as a healthier counterpart. What we can do is we can actually do also meatless meat flavor that is actually natural as well. That comes from different types like yeast extract, and also one of the type that is also very useful to enhance flavor is actually the spice and herbs. So by adding spice extract, by adding herb extract, you can actually make nutritious food less boring. For example, I'll just give one example over here. In Foodex, we have example of products like fried onion or fried garlic paste. Usually, what people add is raw garlic, and then they actually process it or either they fry it to make it more fragrant. What we have here is we actually do that in Foodex. So we have a fried garlic paste that when you actually add to the food, it can actually it can actually make the taste very flavorsome because you actually have a taste of fried garlic over there. So there are a lot of variation and things that you can do to so-called natural commodity to actually make it more flavorsome and also to have more value addition to your food.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I find it very interesting because I have tasted fried rice with garlic rice in Philippines. I really
Yes.
like that. I do want to have those products in Taiwan too. I will buy
Yes.
those.
Yes. Please come here to
Anyway,
Indonesia when the pandemic is over, Jack.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway,
Yes.
for the time limitation, I have to say goodbye to you, Jenny.
Yes. Thank
Really,
you.
thank you. The honor is ours. Yeah, we
Thank
really
you.
want to see you in our future events.
Thank you for having me here.
Okay, see you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. See you.
Great presentation, by the way. Okay, thank you, Jenny, for the very interesting and making me hungry presentation. Okay, it's always good to know that we can enjoy tasty and savory food using natural extracts. Wonderful presentation. Okay, now to discuss a hot topic in the industry, let's welcome the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. David Harry Tjahjono from PT Nestle Indonesia. Okay, David's presentation is titled Plant-Based Healthier Lifestyle with Less Impact on the Planet. Oh, that's very important. It's hitting two birds with one stone. You can stay healthy and save the planet too. It couldn't get any better than this. Let's all welcome David. People, just say hi to David in the chat box right now.
Good morning, everyone. As introduced by the organizers, I like to share about the interest of having plant-based as an option of healthier lifestyle, and with the definitely less impact to the planet. So, as also in Nestle, vision is good food and good life, and life it also means that a sustainability journey of delivering or maintaining our resources, including this planet. Yeah. So let me start with the agenda. So I will try to start with the consumer insight, where you can see the word plant-based share actually taken by Mintel or Kantar, and as well as Nestle interest on why we do this. And then second, on the why the plant-based is interesting to be continued to deliver, which is the environment, nutrition profile we can discuss, and organoleptic, where you can say the taste, etc. Yeah, and then as a technical persons, we also need to see what is the challenge of doing the manufacturing, because there is plant-based is pose any allergen risk, and this risk must be managed, and then this can be a challenge. But we can talk later about how we do it and how we mitigate this risk. Yeah. So the next will be consumer insight. We have a consumer insight from Kantar, where health, ethics, and the environment are driving consumer towards the plant-based foods. The health perception, for example, 58% of US consumer eating plant-based protein more often claim that it is healthier than eating meats, including 70% of those over 55 years old. And then 54% of German consumers say that eating less meat is better for the environment, rising from 70% of 16 to 24 years old. And then 19% of Brazilian consumers claim that they are drinking less milk because of concern over animal welfare. And then continue with, yes, getting more plants into one's diet has become more and more necessity, not just a trend. It's again about the environmental concern, 39% of German consumers, animal welfare, 38% of Australian consumer, cost cut back 65%. Some of the present adult consumers, they think that when they consume the plant-based, they would have, let's say, a cheaper alternative of, let's say, source of protein. Next. Yeah. But one other limiting factors to, let's say, hinder the consumptions of the plant-based is that the taste, the textures, the color, for example. For example, the data shows by Kantar or Mintel, out of 2,000 respondents through internet interview, in Japan, 47% of consumers say that the plant-based food don't seem tasty, rising to 52% of 18-29 or younger generation, and 57% of 30 to 39 years old. In Italy, 33% who don't eat meat substitutes say they would, if the taste of the plant-based will be more like meat. 35% would even, if the ingredients are sustainably sourced. And in the US, 22% of this eating less plant-based protein claim that it is because there are not enough appetizing options. So truly the taste has become a limiting factor, some of the limiting factors, or even challenge for the industrial to promote a better taste appealing in order to attract more consumers. Yeah. Yeah. The product innovation trends. You can see the animal proteins, dairy and meats, vegan claims in product launches are trending upward. I mean, you can see in these slides, the dark blue is the one from the year 2017, 2018, and the light blue is the one from 2021, 20 to 21. You can see that globally, yeah, you can see Europe, North America, Asia Pacific, LATAM, and then Middle East. They are all increasing in the product innovation trends. Every product that they launch, the portion of the plant-based is increasing and increasing year by year. And Fuji Oil Company maintains the largest active patent portfolio and followed by Nestle close behind. You can see in the year of 2021, the data was taken in 27 September, just recently, 2021. Nestle has just patented 65 patents of the plant-based, let's say, a patent where this is an improving either from benefits, from, let's say, from nutritional point of view, from textures, for example, where you can see, for example, in the burger, where the meat in the middle of the burger, the bun, is truly a full plant-based, and then it tastes really like a meat. So this kind of thing, they are patented, and then you can see that linked to the consumer trends, more and more the patent will be also increases, and Fuji Oil is number one, and Nestle is number two on this category. And some of the product that just recently launched, you can see there is a competition to develop a real meat alternative. Yeah, I don't need to discuss a bit the detail, but you can see the real meat alternative means they will look like a meat, either the taste, the color, or the product when it's reconstituted from, let's say, pinkish into a bit brown, like when you roasted the meat, for example. That's become the alternative, meat alternative that is today is developing by the company. And then Another one is also another benefit that's the products of the plant-based being given. It's become not only in the foods but also in the RTD. It's also in the seeds, in the snacks, for example. This is another, let's say, developments of the new products. You can also check that some of the unique protein plant-based sources from lentil, from lupin, from broadleaf bean has also been introduced recently. This is expanding the range of alternative variety of the plant-based. For example, normally soy, peas is the second and the first and the second, let's say, source options where many companies doing it to offer as alternative of dairy. But today there are much more than this, and then you can see more and more the other alternative will be coming in. Even also interesting, there is a combination between protein and the plants. For example, insect powder and pea powder resembling a nice minced beef and chicken bites. This is a combination between insect powder and the pea powder. This is another new development. So you can see a lot of interesting development recently, and the point is that the consumer, but why industry is doing it? Because the consumer demand a wider choices and better realism of substitute product. Innovator definitely will need to continue develop this space of this benefit and the organoleptically meet to the consumer requirement. And then, yeah, as we know that during the last 2 years, during pandemic, and some of the viruses generated is really linked to the, let's say, animal origins. So plant-based is definitely an alternative consuming plant-based is definitely accelerated during the coronavirus pandemic. And Nestle also got interested in this plant-based. Some of it, you know the story about the burger, where the meats inside here is truly like a meat, where it's made from the plant-based. And Nestle also, in let's say in Asia, is champions the plant-based food investment. Yeah, you can see also here in Malaysia, in Shah Alam, they invest the, what do you call it, this plant-based, the one that is made to mimic the meat from the plant-based in this facility. Talking about the why plant-based, first we need to know that, or to, let's say, I think everybody knows, but we need to be reminded, and every time when we see it, then we can be shocked that a glass of different various milk, in this case a glass of water, for example, on the left side is the dairy, and then rice, milk, soy, oats, and almond. From water, land use, and emission kilogram produced, you can see dairy milk is consuming much more than soy, yeah, and even almond milk is still double than that. Land of use, it's a huge of land use, yeah, to keep the cattle is happy and eat the grass and producing the milk. And on emissions as well, this cattle will definitely produce a lot of emissions. So environmental impact, you can see from water, land use, emissions. Plant-based, any plant-based here, it's can be half or even much less than a dairy milk resource that needed. And then greenhouse gas emission that I take from our word data in the internet. We see that beef, yeah, this is beef, and then prawns, beef, dairy, herds, lambs, goat, pork, cheese, chicken, and then eggs, fish, and then on the last 4 points is the plant-based. You can see that basically the dairy, the beef it's much larger in consuming or let's say taking the resource of this greenhouse gas emissions. So continue as well as in this part, you can see that from food, yeah. If you can see in this slide previously was the protein-rich foods. This one is the product that containing beef as a product, not just only protein. You can see that this is also the same picture of it. And Nestle also, especially in Indonesia, got some visions. Let's say worldwide, Nestle would like to reduce the emission of carbon by 20% in 2025, and then cut half of carbon emission by 50% in 2030, and then to achieve net zero emission carbon neutral by 2050. And then from nutritional point of view, you can see if we compare dairy milk, whole milk, and then reduce fat, soy, or the last three on the right side is the plant-based, soy, almond, and coconut. Generally, the milk comes from the animal origin in this case dairy. It's much more on calories and fats, cholesterol includes. And then you can check also a bit more detail here. Basically, another comparing to the plant-based, yeah, almond, oats, coconut, rice, cashew, hams, pea, etc. Calories and fat, it's a lot compared to plant-based. So if I could summary a little bit the nutritional profile, benefit, and organoleptics. Animal origin, the positive, let's say, good protein quality. We know that eggs and other meats or animal origin protein, they are having 100% PER, a protein efficiency ratio, and also especially dairy product, they are containing adequate amount of vitamins and minerals. Taste also more appealing, yeah. But the culture of the animal origins is high energy, cholesterol, lactose intolerant. We are talking in Asia, for example, where the lactose intolerant can be more than 50% of the population. They are really affected by this lactose intolerance. And then definitely this high energy and high fats can risk of obesities. While the plant-based, you can see that they are generally less energy, no lactose intolerant or cholesterol, and then high fiber, high antioxidants. And then eating this plant origin is lowering the risk of cardiovascular diseases, stroke, diabetes, better weight control. But of course, some of the concern is the protein of the plant-based normally is the range is quite wide, and they can be very wide, and therefore some of the vegan and truly vegetarian, they need to eat several combination of different plant-based, otherwise then they may lack of certain amino acid, becoming a little bit like so-called malnutrition in the sense of protein adequacy. And a lot of plant origin, they are not have enough vitamin and mineral, therefore they need some fortifications. And the last one is the taste is less appealing, which is beanie, raw taste, etc. And this is where the many companies, they are dealing with the improvement, competing how to improve it, the texture, the taste, the color, etc. And then on the manufacturing challenges, yeah, remember that allergens risk is one of the concerns, and because this is a food safety concerns. And remember, an allergy is an adverse reaction of the immune system, yeah, to specific protein. That means egg proteins, milk protein, soy protein, almond protein, for example. When you try to mix them in one facility of manufacturing, they can be a problem sum. And then we will see how does it impact. Because allergen may not be happening in this certain product, but then because of the sharing, then the product of of previously maybe or next to it, yeah, depending on the sequence of the productions, can be impurity, can be contaminated by the protein from other sources. Allergen definitely is mandatory to be labeled. And then producing animal origin like dairy products, plant origin would definitely need a special cleaning validation if this is a shared facility, or even need a dedicated equipment or facility. So I'll come to that one. For example, and then we would like to highlight the claims that made in the plant-based product. It's truly define a manufacturing strategy or the needs. For example, if you have no logo at all, that means there is no maximum limits for unintended presence of animal origins. So the manufacturing strategy that you can definitely share in the existing manufacturing facility, and you can manage it through GMP and following ISO standard. On the RTD product, you can easily manage by CIP, cleaning in place, and definitely the allergen race you need to label it. And then on the second point is where product intended you want to claim with the vegan logo, for example. This is where in European vegetarian unions they label it like this, and they would require a third-party certifications to set the requirements, and then the unintended presence of animal origin must be less than 1,000 ppm. And this is definitely the strategy. How do we achieve it? Is there must be some certifications of the third party, and then you can still possibly share this facility through CIP validations with for the residual unintended ingredient to maximum thousands. And then the allergen race is mandatory also to be labeled. And the last one, this is the one that very strict. If you want to claim a product where it's, let's say, labeled as 100% dairy-free, for example, then the food safety thresholds for allergen, in order to be not posing any risks or symptoms to the consumers, must be less than 3 ppm. And this is, I would say, the manufacturing strategy only be possible if the product is RTD. You can share it in the current manufacturing facility through CIP validation definitely, but then on the powder production, for example, you need to have a dedicated line. And this is things that you remember depending on the claim of the plant-based product that you like to have, whether it's no logo, vegans, or dairy-free, you need to know and then find where to share or not to share, or even if this is a powder, for example, and then you want to really claim 100% dairy-free, you need to have a dedicated line. I think that's my presentations. I hope this is quite clear enough to be explained. And yes, we're open for the questions, answers, which we can enhance each other understanding and then challenge each other to have a better way of solving or challenging the issues. Yeah, thank you.
Dear delegates, welcome. I saw that you have been discussing your comments there in the chat box. That's very great. That's very great. And also, let's welcome David. Come back to this live Q&A platform and answering those questions. Thank you, David. A very informative presentation. I'm thinking of switching to plant-based now. How about you, delegates? Okay, David, let's go to the Q&A platform. And let me delete the question from previous speaker. Do you still remember go to the right-hand side at the chat box? There's a Q&A mode, right? We have several questions there for you. You can think of which one you answer. Okay, great. Publish that. Please read the question for everyone and then start answering.
Okay, thank you. So the first question that I think I like to respond is, sorry, do you hear my voice?
Yes, loud and clear. And delegates, if you can hear it, please say hi to David in the chat box too.
Okay, so could plant-based product taste as good as dairy or animal origin-based product? So answer is that This is still a challenge, but I think it's going to be more and more, to be realistically, let's say, going to be like that. Yeah. So you see that the trend of the patent, it's where it's increasing, and this is where each of the company that got interest in developing plant-based, and one of the restriction is of course the taste, the organoleptic, the color, etc. It's one day, and I believe Nestle has, not only Nestle, I think many other companies will do the same. One by one, they find a way how to mimic that one. For example, when you roast the meats will turn from pinkish to brown. And from that aspect, yeah, because the organoleptic is about the color, the taste, the crunchiness, etc. One by one, let's say specific on the color. There is a specific how do you call it? Color. You can see in my presentation actually that able to mimic that one, and then even a plant-based, then it's become, when you, let's say, roasting it, then it's become like, oh yeah, it's turned into the brown like real meat. That one aspect, and then another aspect, maybe another one, and then become, I believe one day it will taste like really like a meat. So the answer is yes, we believe that. Yeah, thanks.
One step a day.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
so another one.
Yes.
Could we use current dairy-based manufacturing facility to produce plant-based? Yes, the answer is, if you pay attention on this last point of my presentations, I deal with this because normally the plant-based is an emerging product variant, right? Many companies, they start with the dairy-based, and the plant-based, as we are moving, and probably maybe the volume is not that much first. There is a challenge of the taste, etc. Then normally industry will try to launch with a little bit less or even very small volume just to test. And if you invest this, it's going to be a problem. How many years the payback will be if you have to have a dedicated line, right? So the answer is yes, you can. But of course, depending on the claim on the logo, for example, if you just claim without logo, for example, that's the easiest way. You even can do it exactly perfect in that same line, just only you have to validate your cleaning through CIP. And then before and after that, and you just check there is no no traces of animal origins in acceptable form, you can continue. Just mandatory, you need to label it. That means your dairy product, you might write in the label may contain traces of soy protein. And then on the soy protein product or plant-based, you must say may contain a dairy or casein protein or whatever traces, let's say. So that's, I think, the answer is yes. Only one thing you have to remember, if you want to claim 100% dairy-free, and this is a powder product, not RTD, then you need to have a dedicated line. That's the only exceptions that I could remember. Yeah, I hope I could answer the questions. Okay. So
let's go to the next one.
The next one. Let's see. To call it this one. Yes. Why plant-based has less impact to the environment? Yes, you can see in my previous presentations, the animals' origins, dairy, let's say, dairy products, dairy ingredients, one of it, that would consume a lot of resources from, let's say, from land use, waters, and the emissions that produce from this, let's say, growing this cattle. And this is definitely, compared to plant-based, even an almond milk is just only half of it, and even soy, if you can remember my presentation, is a very small. So yes, because of this, then plant-based has become, let's say, environmentally friendly. It's become a dreams, one of the solutions. Yeah. For example, Nestle is a dairy-based product at the moment, majority still, but moving it into our vision, for example, to reduce by 25%, further in 2030, 50%, and later in 2050 carbon neutral. It's not only achieving through moving all the dairy into plant-based, you can do something else, right? So for example, you know the to produce the steam, you need in the past. I think not only us, it's probably all over the world. You use the fuse of oil to burn and then generate steam, and then later you can plan of having the husk, the how do you call it? If you rice paddy and then you take the paddy, this part, you can collect at the haze from the wheat, for example. Then you can collect, and you have plenty of it. You can burn, and this is a carbon neutral or neutralizing the GHG. So this is another alternative as well to how do you call it, to minimize that impact. Yeah. Okay. I hope I could answer that.
Yes,
Point.
and due to the time limitation, I suggest that okay, either we go to the sum up the conclusion or the last
Yeah.
question from the delegate. I know that delegates you've been discussing in the chat box really hot. I like that too. And David, I would like to welcome you to our event website later. Join the
Yeah.
chat box, maybe answering them later other questions too. But
Okay.
today, yes, please use your time well at the very last minute.
Okay, so basically, ladies and gentlemen, I said thank you. So I would say plant-based can be one of the solutions. We should not count 100% and not eating dairy. That's also not true. I think that's definitely a one way to reduce the impact, to save, I would say, the impact of the planets that we should inherit to our child, to our children. So one of it is that plant-based. So development of the plant-based, including all the things, the habits and everything, understand that the consumer will be a very much interest for industry to contribute to sustainability to this planet. So I think that's all from my side. Thank you for the chance. Yeah, and then hope we can meet each other again in the next event. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye.
of course. It's very nice to have you and a great presentation, I have to say, David. Looking forward to see you in our future events. Thank you. Bye-bye, David.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, delegates. I have to say it's a really great topic that, that's inspiring. I have a lot of thinking right now. I believe you do so, right? So all the delegates from not only on our event website, but our other backup channel and other channels as well, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a 5-minute networking time. Let's use this time to meet our delegates, each other, and check out the booths as well, like Carrie and other associations and the booths. They offer the more information of them, and also you can have the chance to, have the further discussion with them. And also, for those delegates on our other channels other than the website, I also leave the login information, the sign up for it information, the login link there. Please use this time to fill in our registration and join our event website. We can have the great complete networking function there, and you can feel free to talk with each other. We have a lot of people there to meet. Right? Today is good for meeting new friends. So stay tuned with me. I'll see you in 5 minutes. See you later. Hello, dear delegates. Welcome back. I have to say, I know the time is very short, but you can still seize the chance to explore our event website. We have very special function there, not only the boost function, but also the networking function. You can private message or even video talking to each other on our event website. That's very wonderful, right? We're just like physical events online cross the boundaries globally. That's very great. So those delegates on our different channels, please seize your chance to fill in the login, those information, and join our event website. We're looking forward to see you on our very many functional event website. Anyway, welcome back, delegates. Did you expand your network during the networking time? I hope so. Let's continue with our next presentation. Our speaker is Muti Arintawati. Ibu Muti, I'll call her that, as she is fondly called, is the Executive Director of Majelis Ulama Indonesia and President Director of LPPOM MUI. It is a leader in Halal assurance solutions in Indonesia. So, Ibu Muti will give you an update on Indonesia's Halal regulations and implementation. Halal is one of the fastest growing markets, not just in Southeast Asia and Middle East, but also globally. So let's hear it from the expert, Ibu Muti. You have the floor. Oh, by the way, delegates, I have to remind you again, don't forget we will have live Q&A session after the presentation of each speaker. Prepare your question. They will answer your questions in person later. Okay, get ready. Listen very carefully.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is nice to see you in this event, and I'm from Indonesia. I would like to share some information. It is about updates on halal regulation of Indonesia and its implementation. There are some points that I would like to share to you, and I will start with the introduction about LPPOM MUI. LPPOM MUI is an organization under Majelis Ulama Indonesia, or MUI, and we already started the halal certification in Indonesia since 1989, and we are accredited by our Indonesian local accreditation body, and also accredited by UAE accreditation body, and we are supported by more than 1,000 halal auditors all over Indonesia. And we have our representative offices in 34 provinces in Indonesia, and also overseas we have in China, Korea, and Taiwan. We have our online system that we call as CEROL, SS 23,000, and we develop this halal standard we call as HAS 23,000. And you know that when LPPOM MUI started the halal certification in Indonesia, halal certificate is not mandatory, but now the regulation in Indonesia changes, and since 2019 there is a new regulation. It is Act number 33, year 2014, that in this year the regulation, the policy is changed from so the halal certification in Indonesia now is mandatory, and the effective implementation of this new regulation starts from October 17, 2019. There are some regulation for implementing the new regulation of Indonesia. So if I just mentioned about this act, and then number 33, 2014, and after this act, just last year, there was a new act, Act number 11. So some of regulation in this, the previous act change, and there are some derivatives of this regulation. There is the government regulation number 39, year 2021. It is concerning the implementation of halal product assurance. And then there are some decree of Minister of Religious Minister. So there is a decree concerning the halal certificate services, and also concerning the mandatory of halal certified products, and also the criteria of product assurance system. For the implementation of this new regulation, there are stages. Yeah, it was started from 2019. It is for food and beverages. So it will take 5 years. So it gave the company to have time to adjust to new regulation in Indonesia. So the end of the stages for food and beverages will be in 2024. So it means that in 2024, all food and beverages products that will be claimed as halal product must have halal certificate, or if not, and then it will classified as non-halal. If the product not belong to the product that is not mandatory to be halal certified. And just last month, in October 2021, some products already started to be halal certified also. Yeah, but the length of the stages is varies, depend on the product. Like this one, the traditional medicine and supplement, it is started from this year, and it will be ended in 2026. And then the free medicine and limited free medicine, same, it is start this year and it will be ended in 2029. For the prescription drugs excluded psychotropic, so this one will be ended, it is the longest one, so it will be ended in 2034. And then for cosmetics, consumer goods, it will be ended in 2026. And for the special consumer goods, it will be ended in 2029, and even until 2034. So if you have, you know what kind of products that you have, then you will know how long that you have to adjust the to the new regulation in Indonesia. So what should company do? Yeah, in this transition process? So of course, first is to update with regulation policy Indonesia, and then the second one is making adjustment to regulation implementation in Indonesia. So this is important, very important points for the company to adjust the new regulation in Indonesia. And how about the halal certification process? So this is the process of halal certification. So there is, if you have the products to be halal, to be marketed in Indonesia, and you need the halal certification from BPJPH. BPJPH is the government agency that is as the focal point, who is responsible for the implementation of the halal certification policy in Indonesia. So you have to register, you have to submit the application to BPJPS first, and then you have to choose the audit agency. LPPOM is one of the audit agencies. So when you choose LPPOM, and then you have to follow this step of process. So there's registration through our online system, and then there will be a pre-audit, and then of course the payment, and then we will do the audit, and the result of audit will be brought to the auditor meeting, and also if it's needed, there will be a lab analysis. And then the halal assurance system status will be decided. And if it's already meet the requirement, and then it will be brought to the Fatwa Commission meeting and to be decided as a halal or not halal product. And then the halal product will get the halal decree of MUI. And based on this halal decree of MUI, the Indonesian government, BPJPH, will issue the halal certificate. But if your product is not for Indonesian market, so you can just directly submit the application to LPPOM MUI and follow the same process, and you only will get the halal decree from LPPOM MUI. Okay, this is only some. This is the registration to BPJPH. So you have to go to the online system of BPJPH. It is called as Si Halal. So this is you have to go through the system before you go to LPPOM MUI, and of course you have to create the account and then make activation through email from BPJPH, and then you can log into this system. And from the system, you will get the document that is called as the STTD. So STTD is the registration receipt from BPJPH, and after you get this, and then you can go to the. So this is how the STTD looks like, and from here you can go to the online system of LPPOM MUI. It is called as Serol. So you can sign up, and then make registration through Serol, and you have to also upload the STTD from BPJPH. And in the Serol, there are some types of registration. So if you have the halal product not for UAE country, and then you click this one. And if you have the Harsch status acceleration registration, you click this one, and the halal product registration for UAE destination export, and then you have to click this one. Why we put UAE here? Because LPPOM MUI is already accredited by UAE accreditation body. The name is ESMA, and so if the company want to export the product to UAE, and by using the halal decree from MUI, so you can enter this country. Yeah, so you can use the halal decree of MUI as the supporting document for your product to be marketed in UAE country. And also for other country, yeah, we also have cooperation with other countries. So it means that by using the MUI decrees, you can also penetrate the market outside Indonesia. But for Indonesia, you need the halal certificate from BPJPH. Okay, then I will just give in short information that during the pandemic situation, we still doing our job, yeah, to perform the audit by using the remote audit. We call the audit as the modified on-site audit, or we call it MOSA. Yeah, so by using this procedure, and then we can still continue all the halal certification process even in the pandemic situation. Okay, next is about the updates on LPPOM MUI halal certification policy. There are some policy that we have now. There are changes of MUI halal decree validity period, and then there are some updates of LPPOM MUI halal audit policy and acceleration program of LPPOM MUI in certification process. Okay, so maybe some of you already know that in the past, the validity period of MUI halal decree or halal certificate is only 2 years, and in the new regulation of Indonesia, the halal certificate validity period is for 4 years. So then MUI decided to change the policy. So the MUI halal decree now become also 4 years. And then because we are accredited by UAE, and for UAE the validity of period of certificate must be 3 years. So the halal decree of MUI can be also for 3 years for the product that will be exported to UAE. And then there are some changes of the halal audit policy of LPPOM. We issue the halal supporting documents for critical materials. Yeah, so every client of LPPOM can refer these documents how to complete all the information needed in halal certification, all documents needed. What we mean that critical materials is materials that is not belongs to the halal positive list, like raw materials, additives, processing aids, also primary packaging, lubricant, grease, sanitizer, which is in direct contact with the product, and washing validation media that is in direct contact with the facility. So this is something that is new. Yeah. Okay, and then next, the next one is yeah, so we have also updated halal positive list. You can refer to our website, and scope of expansion of the material inquiry for our clients. If they need to use new material, they have to submit the material to get the permission from us, get approval from us. So now it's not only for new material which is used for halal certified products, but also for new material which is used for the new product that will be halal registered, and also materials that are used by product which is produced or trial in sharing facility with halal certified products. Okay, we publish HAS thematic for HAS 23000. So anyone want to know about the standard, the halal standard, you can refer to these books. We have now we have 5 books. It's for processing industry, meat processing industry, restaurant and food services, pharmaceutical and logistic. Okay, and then next is about the acceleration program of LPPOM MUI in the certification process. In the new regulation, there is a limitation of the duration of the process of halal certification for local company. Only 15 days we have to complete all the process, the audit process, and there's only 10 days extension. And for the overseas company, there is only 15 days and then 15 days extension. So total is 30 days. So the time is very limited. So we need to make it fast, yeah, to adjust to this new regulation. So how? So we make some improvement. The first one is we accelerate the auditor assignment, and then we assign one auditor to follow the whole process from pre-audit until the post-audit, in order to achieve the goal of this accelerating certification process. Of course, cooperation from the company is required, because if there is something that must be improved by company, and the company take too long, and then the process can be terminated. Okay. And next is about the update of new fatwa of MUI. Yeah, there are some new fatwa of MUI during the last 3 years, yeah, from 2018 to 2021. There are some new fatwa. In 2018, there is a fatwa about the foods and beverages product contain ethanol and alcohol, and then the use of gold particle in cosmetics products for men, and then the law of consuming kangaroo meat, cosmetic product containing alcohol and ethanol, the use of alcohol or ethanol for medical ingredients, And in 2019, there is a fatwa about the using of black soldiers flies, and this is the use of blood plasma for medicine and ingredients in 2018 and 2019. The law of consuming squirrels and tree shrew. Okay, and next it is fatwa about the law in consuming fleece, and then this is the law of honey extraction, and also the use of human diploid cells for medicine and vaccine production materials, and the use of silkworm cocoon in cosmetics products. So there are some new fatwa of MUI. If you need this fatwa, you can go to the website of MUI. So you can find the complete fatwa about halal product in that website. Okay, for the last part of my presentation, I would like to inform you about the LPPOM MUI services and also the information channels. Yeah. We have a laboratory. It is accredited already. The main service of our laboratory is for the halal testing, like identification of DNA species, identification of peak and specific protein, ethanol content, water permeability test, and identification of skin morphology. But beside this, we also have services for other testing, like product quality testing, food safety testing, also microbiological testing. And if you need to contact LPPOM MUI, you can contact directly to us. And this one is special for you can contact us to get a discussion with LPPOM through video teleconference. We developed this new service during the pandemic. And then if you need more information about LPPOM MUI, you can visit our website, halalmui.org. And we have also social media account on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also LinkedIn. And we have the website for the online certification. And also we have mobile apps. And of course, we have the also call center and so email services. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all information that I want to share with you. I hope you can get enough information. If not, and then just feel free to ask me if there's any question that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Muti and delegates. Let's give applause in the chat box to Ibu Muti. Let's give her a few seconds. And I have to say, very insightful presentation, Ibu Muti. Thank you. Now, please don't forget, delegates, visit their booths after this event to learn more about Majalis. And Ibu Muti, I now give you the access to our Q&A platform. Delegates, if you have questions or need clarifications, please type this in the chat box right now. Oh, I see your mouse, Ibu Muti. Okay, I see you're moving.
Hello, Jack.
Great.
Okay.
Hi, nice to
Yes.
see you. Let's move to the Q&A mode. Do you still remember how to do that?
Of course.
On the right-hand side in the chat box, there's a Q&A mode button. Please click that. Great.
Okay, so this is the first question. If
Yes,
the product
please read
is
the question.
okay, if the product is not halal certified, whether the product is still can be sold in Indonesia, how will the arrangement in outlets if it is still allowed? Okay, as I explained in my presentation, that now the implementation of the mandatory of halal certification is still in the staging, so it's not fully implemented. So it means now it is still open that if you are not halal certified, you still can sell your product in Indonesia. But of course, at the end of the stages, if you want to claim your product to be halal product, you need to be halal certified. Yeah. So there will be three categories. First, the product that is that has halal certificate, that it means you can claim as a halal product, you can put halal logo on the product. The second one, if your product belongs to the list of the product that not need to be halal certified, so it is free, so you don't need to put anything. But if your product is not halal, it is clear your product contain haram material, it is not halal. So it means the product belong to the category of the non-halal product, and you also have to put the information that product is not halal. Yeah. So even now and or later, still you can sell the product even it's not halal, still can be sold in Indonesia, but it must be clear so every consumer can see the information.
That's wonderful. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Mister. And let's go to the next one.
Okay. Yes, the next one. Okay, this one. Does the halal certification also include checking nutritional content? Okay. No. Yeah. In the halal certification process, the checking of nutritional content is not part of the scope of audit, because the focus of audit is we check the halalness of the product. So it means we have to check in detail every ingredients used in the product. So we have to get the guarantee that each ingredients is halal. Of course, we can use the documents like a halal certificate for that support each ingredients, or also other documents like flowchart, for example, or specification. So we can study about this, and then we know that whether the ingredients is halal or not. Or we can also do the lab test. So that is how we check the halalness of the ingredients. And beside the materials or ingredients, it is also very important to make sure that the facility is free from any material that can affect the halalness of the product. So that is the main activity of the halal audit. Yeah, so nutritional testing is not the part of the audit.
Okay, in short, it's no. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay, the next one. Okay, what is the main challenges in certifying companies of food supplement and nutraceuticals? Okay, so the main challenges, as I just mentioned, is how to prove the halalness of the ingredients. Yeah, the more you use the ingredients, of course, it's more challenges to make sure that each ingredient is halal. So that's for the company, it is challenging to get the right information to prove that the ingredients is halal. Yeah, because it's not all materials have halal certificate. Yeah, because if the ingredients have halal certificate, it means that of course we can use it as a document to support the halalness of the material. But if not, and then you have to collect other documents, to support, to guarantee that the materials that you use is halal. And if you have a new material that is something that is maybe the something that is very new, that is not
innovation.
Known, it's and then we sometimes have to bring this new thing, new information to our fatwa, to ask to our ulama the halalness of this product. Just like in my presentation, I explained that there are some new fatwa from MUI. It is for the new materials that we never found before, and there is no status of the halalness of that kind of material. So if we found that kind of material, and then we have to collect all information, and then we have to bring it to our fatwa commission, and then ask how is the status of the halalness of this kind of product.
Okay. I see. Okay, due to the time limitation, I have to announce that the next question will be the last one, or you can just use the time to make it a conclusion as well. So, what do you want?
Okay, so I think I will make conclusion. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining my session today. So I hope you can understand that Indonesia is a big country, of course, a big market, and it's a big halal market. Yeah, so it's very important for you to have halal certificate to enter in Indonesian market. Yeah, because now Indonesia halal is not, it is now mandatory. So if you want to label your product as halal product, and you want to compete other competitors to have the market in Indonesia, of course you have to be halal certified. And take your time, because it's now still in the staging time period, so you still have time to prepare. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibu Muti, for your great presentation and also the very great live Q&A answering. Thank you for that, and looking forward to see you in our future event.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right. Delegates, that's very great presentation, isn't it? Okay. Let's also give your thanks to Ibu Muti in the chat box if you would like to. Say thank you. And also, if you want to have further discussion, welcome to contact them. Okay. Next, let's welcome our next speaker. Our next presenter is Mr. Adhi Lukman, Chairman of GAPMI, GAPPMI, or the Indonesian Food and Beverage Industry Association. He will talk about how the food industry can respond to changes in consumers' behavior post-COVID-19 pandemic. This is one of the most important areas that food and beverage manufacturers must look at. Now, let us listen to Mr. Lukman and prepare your question. Listen very carefully to his presentation. Lukman, please, you can have the floor. Yes, we'll listen to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Adhi Lukman, Chairman of Indonesian Food and Beverage Industry Associations. Thank you very much for Ringers to invite me for sharing about the food industry response to change in consumer behavior post-COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. I think this is a very good event for all of us to know about the situation of post-COVID pandemic in Indonesia. Before I talk about the situation of post-COVID pandemic in Indonesia, I would like to share about the food and beverage industry conditions in Indonesia. As we know, Indonesia is one of the largest country in the world with the fourth largest populations, more than 270 million populations, and growth rate is 1.25%. And also the important thing for food and beverage industry is share of food expenditure per capita is quite significant high, almost 50%, and processed food contributes around 1/3 of the food expenditure per capita. So this is the great opportunity for food industry in Indonesia. As we know that Indonesia has a vision in 2045 that the GDP per capita become $23,000, and currently our GDP is around 4,000. And with the high GDP and according to the experience so far, we know that consumers need more processed food products, more variety, more added value, better quality, and more functional. And of course, the food and beverage industry is supported by the household consumptions with a very high percentage of the GDP, is almost 58% to the GDP household consumption contributions. So with these conditions, food and beverage industries growth always positively during the pandemic COVID. Last year, our growth is around 1.58%, and the third quarter 2021, our growth is increased around 3.49%. And the contribution to the GDP non-oil industry always growing, also to the contribution food industry to total GDP. So with these conditions, food industries plays an important role in food security and food availability and contributes to the economic in Indonesia. And if we see the structure of Indonesian populations, is more than 53% of the population in Indonesia is millennial and Gen Z. So with these conditions, we know that Gen Z and millennial is less loyal and they always need new experience. So this is the opportunity for food and beverage industry to innovate the product, to innovate all aspects of the food and beverage industry, to serve and to provide the new product for the millennial and Gen Z. This is the great opportunity for food and beverage industry. And as you know, the investment realization in food industry in Indonesia also showing the good performance, especially for the foreign direct investment. Last year, foreign direct investment grew around 25%, and until the third quarter 2021, the growth is almost 76%. So this is showing that foreign investors are more optimistic about the prospect of food industry in Indonesia. And last year, our export also growing around 14%. And until the second quarter 2021, our growth is around 42.59%. And food industry export also contribute around almost 24% of total export of the processing industries in Indonesia. And if this is including the palm oil and derivatives. If we exclude the palm oil and derivatives, we can see for the semi-processed and processed food also growing, even not as big as the palm oil industries. Last year, our growth is around 5%, and I think we believe that this year will be more higher growth for the food and beverage, semi-processed and processed foods. Unfortunately, the import growth is higher than our export growth, so that's why this is we see that the balance is minus quite significant for the 2021. And how we can see the opportunity and challenges post-COVID-19, and also the changes of the consumer behavior post-COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, we can see that this is the update pandemic COVID-19 situation in Indonesia. We are happy and fortunate that pandemic COVID in Indonesia is better, in the better conditions. The average within the last 1 week is around 500 cases, and this is, we know that based on the data monitor, if the COVID-19 cases is increasing, the demand for consumer goods will decrease. So this correlation shows that the game changer of economic growth is the handling of COVID-19. So the collaboration among the stakeholders in combating pandemic COVID-19 is the key success factor in Indonesia. I believe all countries are facing the same situations. And you know that during the pandemic, since last year, we are facing the 5 crises in the midst of the economic recovery since the pandemic of COVID-19 last year. First crisis is the health crisis, and then the second is the economic crisis. Because of the health crisis and the impact of the economic crisis, and also after that, because of the unbalance between the trade and logistics among the countries in the world, and we are facing the logistic crisis where it's difficult for every country, including Indonesia, to get more space for deliver the product to other countries. We need more container and vessel space to distribute our product before the export. And also the logistic costs to export is very high. Some countries more than 5 times compared to the normal situations. And then followed by the commodity crisis, because as reported by the FAO, that the average compared to last year, food commodity prices increased around 33%, and some commodity even increase higher than that. And also followed by energy crisis, because currently it's difficult for us and all countries to separate the raw material for the energy and also for food. So with the 5 crises in Indonesia, we know that our sales and our growth in food industry is increasing. Unfortunately, our costs increasing as well, because that crisis, like commodity price is increasing, logistic costs and other costs is increasing. Unfortunately, it's difficult for us during the pandemic. We increase our selling price, so that's why the challenge is profit. Our bottom line of the companies is challenging. So that's why this is we need more innovation to overcome this problem. This is the report from the FAO that average around 33%, and some commodity like vegetable oils increase around 60%, sugar more than 50%, and other commodity like corn, soybean, and others commodity as well. And we know that the impact of the COVID-19 to the food and beverage industry is quite significant, because many social distancing, work from home, and other implementation of the limitation activity. And because of those, e-commerce is significantly increasing during the pandemic, and also consumers focus on food safety as a center of attention. And changing in consumer behavior, like the home cooking is come back, and also consumers concerned about the healthy on eating, and this is some changes in the consumer side. This is this is a report from one of the platform that many SMEs increase partner with the Grab for delivery the products. And of course, many consumer behaviors changing through the platform and online sales during the pandemic COVID-19. And based on the survey from the PricewaterhouseCoopers, Indonesian consumers see themselves changing across the many dimensions, like Indonesian populations more digital, more health conscious, more eco-friendly, more price sensitive, and also thinking the futures. This is the result of the survey currently by the PricewaterhouseCoopers. And also, this is also showing that after 2 times survey, showing that Indonesian consumer want retailers to increase health and safety measures. So this is very important for the consumers in Indonesia to know about this. And also, the price continues to dominate as the reason of Indonesian consumer choosing to shop online. So that's why it is challenging, and also the concern of the food industry to address this consumers' concerns. And fortunately, based on the survey, 6 of all the 10 Indonesian consumers will spend more in the next 6 years. This is showing that consumers spend much more and spend slightly more for the next 6 years. So that's why this is an opportunity for food industry to serve them and to provide the new product for the consumers during the pandemic COVID-19. And based on the survey also, we know that food consumption patterns, trends amid the COVID-19 is changing. several consumers now is concerned about the food origin, and also the home delivery is become a new way of collecting the product, food product, and consumer also focus on the plant-based food because some consumers believe that the plant-based food is become healthier for their diets. And also home cooking experience. This is increasing during the pandemic COVID. And also the consumers concerned about the packaging, and also choose some food for the immune booster. And of course, some consumer also thinking less street food and concerned about food safety. This is that survey is done for the global. How about in Indonesia? I think the trend is same in Indonesia. Trend are changing, especially for the upper middle class, and also the lower middle class trying to keep up with the changes, even though the challenges are their affordability and also availability. And the trend of the healthier diets, food safety accelerated by the presence of the COVID-19. And the challenges of equitable and affordable locally based availability is the concern of the consumers in Indonesia as well. And challenges and solution for the millennial and Gen Z, as I also already mentioned previously, the millennial and Gen Z is they need more clear and challenging information. So that's why the food industry need to do more interactive and more produce the functional food to serve their demand. And also the millennial have I decide to try a new product, so they need more experience and Instagrammable for the new product. So this is the trend, and also we try to catch up with this trend, and many food industry now advertise their products through the media social as well for serving the millennial generations. And they need more delicious and functional product. They need, and we know based on the several survey, the millennial generations more low loyalty. So that's why industry need to do more to remind them the product, and also to keep the product availability in the markets. And also they need more easy access. So that's why industry also provide the product through online and offline. And they need more unique taste and performance. So that's why the industry try to produce more product differentiations. And some surveys said that the millennial generation also looking local-based food, but with the modernized performance. So that's why food industry trying to do this to serve their demand. And we understand that the world has changed rapidly and drastically, and also these changes tend to accelerate in recent years, leading us to a condition described by the expert as a VUCA condition. So we know that currently in the new normal, VUCA is a volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity is a trend in the world. So that's why we need to anticipate with the KACA, knowledge and technology. We have to do more agile, to improve our competence, and also we adapt to adaptation to the new situations because of those situations. So that's why, based on that, we need more innovation in the product, and also in all aspects of the product, marketing, logistics, etc. So we need to do more invention and commercializations to have a new product innovations to address their VUCA conditions. And we are happy that our government also have a planning and also have a action plan for the accelerated economic recovery and social reform. In this case, the government also focus on the recovery of industry, trade, tourism, and investment. So, with the 3 stages of strategy from the governments for the handling of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we are now in the staging of economic recovery in this year. After last year, government concern of the economic rescue, and now this year in the economic recovery, and next year we also will focus also in the economic recovery and also structural reform. So we optimistic that with the collaboration between the private sector and governments, we can accelerate the economic recovery during post-COVID-19. And also we are trying to build more resilience for the agro and food industries. And also we try to make our product more affordable and more competitive for the global value chain. This is the collaboration between the private sector and also the governments to build some ecosystem to make agro and food industry more resilient. Of course, we need support from the government for the sustainable raw materials, both from the local and import. Currently, our government has a new implementation of the Omnibus Law since last year. So that's why the guarantee of the product raw material availability is given by government through this Omnibus Law. Government now is trying to fulfill the demand of the industry for the raw material, both for the from the local and import. And also, we need more conducive policy and regulation. We need more consistent regulations, synchronized, and also from upstream to downstream, and collaborations among us. Very important, because with the conducive policy and regulation, we believe that our economic growth and also industry growth become better from time to time. And government also support with the innovation and technology incentive. For example, government provide the super tax reduction for the for vocation and also for the innovations. And this is the very important that supporting from the government. And government also implement the Making Indonesia 4.0 to support these innovations. And also the government also support to improve and develop the human capital to be more competent, skilled, and reliable to support the implementing of Industry 4.0 through the program we call in Indonesia Making Indonesia 4.0. As we know that government already through the Ministry of Industry already implement and announced or launching the Making Indonesia 4.0 since 2018. And of course, we need the support from the government to improve the infrastructure and logistics. With those collaboration and support, we believe that we can build an ecosystem for more resilient agro and food industries. And with those support from the governments and also the handling of the pandemic COVID-19 in Indonesia, we can see that our purchasing manager index is increasing. Last October already become normal because the PMI index is already more than 57%. After the pandemic COVID last July is a very bad condition, so that's why the PMI index is also decreased. But currently our PMI index already much better to the 57.2 in the last October. Our Indonesian bank as a central bank also monitor the from manufacturing index. We can see that the food and beverage sectors become better and better from time to time. So this is the condition that showing that Indonesia is currently the economic condition is much better compared to the last year post-COVID-19 pandemic. And if we outlook at food and beverage industry in 2021 and beyond, I think food industry is an important pillar in the food supply chain in Indonesia. We believe economic will become better and consumptions towards the normal modes after consumers and population in Indonesia already adapt to the new normal after post-COVID-19. And also the government also support purchasing power for the medium low class to get more buying power. And we believe that the middle class has a buying power, and now they are in the conditions of already adaptation in the new normal, and they less fear in the new normal. So that's why now the middle upper class already active and do activity in the normal conditions. And also, as I mentioned, millennials and Gen Z love to try a new product and experience. So this is the opportunity for food and beverage in Indonesia. And of course, supporting by government with the consistency of the government's economic recovery program. We believe Indonesian economic become better in this 2021 and beyond, where the governments predict the economic growth become around 3.7 to 4.5% in 2021. And also IMF predict that the economic growth in Indonesia become around 4.2%. This is in line with the prediction of the Indonesian government. And we believe economic growth become better because our export market is growing and stable, and also domestic market is growing. And based on those assumptions, we believe that food and beverage industry growth is predicted around 5 to 7% in 2021. And next year, our government also predict the economic growth become around 5 to 5.5%. So this is much better compared to the last year and this year. So that's why post-COVID-19 pandemic is Indonesia consumers already adaptations in the new normals, and also we try to have a normal activity, and also industry solving the normal production, normal logistic, and also we believe that some changes in the consumers' behaviors become a new normal in Indonesia. So that's why this is the conditions in food and beverage industries post-COVID-19 pandemic, and we believe we can grow better for this year and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm inviting all of you to have a more discussion through the Q&A sessions. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Hello, dear delegates. I'm coming back. And also, thank you, Mr. Adhi Lukman, for the great presentation. I'm sure our delegates will never look at salt the same way they did after hearing your talk. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do you have questions for that? Let's do that. Adhi Lukman, let's do it. Let's go to the live Q&A. Let me open the stage for you. Thank you. And please focus on the right-hand side of Q&A mode.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. So you can publish those questions and start answering. Or would you like me to publish the question for you?
Okay, I ready.
Great. That's very
okay. Thank you, Jack. Okay, the first question is: what measures are food industries, authorities, and government taking in response to the impact of COVID-19? Well, This is the collaborations between industry, private sector, authorities, governments, and also associations. First, of course, governments has done several programs for economic recovery post-COVID-19, and government also support several programs for the private sector as well, and also for the community. So this is a very important program. Government spend a lot of budget for recovery. This is the and of course, as associations, kami support governments and do the same things for encourage our member to do more economic activity during the post-COVID-19 pandemic. And especially for the food industry itself, we do many efforts. Of course, the first thing is we do more innovations to address the demand of the consumers. Many consumers now tend to focus on the healthy choice of their diets. So that's why many companies currently innovate a new product with additional ingredients, fortify with new ingredients with vitamins, minerals, and other ingredients to boost the consumer's immune. And we can see also several product category like a dairy product and is selling well during the pandemic COVID. And as I mentioned, the investment increment last year and this year is coming mostly coming from the dairy industries in Indonesia. And then the second food category also the spices and also frozen foods and also some raw material for the home cooking, because the consumer trends and new trend in the consumer behavior. So that's why the food industry also adjusts their product to provide the product based on the consumers' demand. This is our effort to post-COVID during and in the midst of the COVID and post-COVID-19. So we hope with this our efforts we can survive and hopefully next year we believe that more optimistic for the better conditions post-COVID-19. Thank you.
Okay, so before we move to the next question, you can take a look at those questions first. Delegates, I received a private message that he couldn't, maybe just hear the speaker Adhi Lukman that very clearly. So if you can hear our voice loud and clear, please say yes and say hi Adhi Lukman in the chat box for us too. Adhi Lukman, please go to the next question.
Okay, the next question is, since healthy life becoming more popular these days, how do food manufacturers adapt to these new consumers' behaviors? Yes, as I mentioned, based on the survey, there are many consumers, especially middle-up class, more concerned about the healthy life. So they are looking for a product category that can fulfill their demands. So that's why, as I mentioned previously, our industries also innovate a new product with the fortifications and also innovate a new product that address their consumers' demands. Many product categories, including for the breakfast, for the home cooking, and also for the meals. We provide the new product with the healthier choice for the consumers. This is basically manufacturer or producer always follow the trend demand of the consumers. This is the way we have to survive. Thank you.
Okay, due to the time limitation, I have to announce that Adhi Lukman, please, let's go to our last question.
Okay, the last question, how is the market trend and challenges for the food industry next year, 2020? 2022. Okay, as I mentioned, I believe that market trends become better, economic also better. As I mentioned, also the condition of the pandemic COVID in Indonesia is in the best conditions currently, and we do hope we can keep this condition until next year and beyond. And we believe our economic growth become better, as I mentioned, around 5 to 5.5%. And food industry, of course, we predict to growth more than 7% next year. So we need more effort from all stakeholders, including governments, collaboration with all stakeholders, including the industries, and also support from the academician and the scientists to support with the new ingredients, new raw materials, and of course with new technology as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Adhi Lukman, for your attending to our event and the great presentation. And I believe that we all learned a lot from you, right, delegates? Please say thank you to Adhi Lukman, and I have to say goodbye to you.
Okay, thank you for all for your attentions.
Thank you. Okay, looking forward to see you in our future event. Bye-bye, Adhi Lukman. Okay, bye. Delegate, you can still feel free to talk to him if you like to. Just go to their booth, leave a comment there. Yes, remember, we have booth function at your left-hand side on the menu. To know more about GetMe especially, visit their booth. All right, our next and final presenter, I would like to show you. For this event, the final presenter is Mr. Hugo Leclercq. Hugo is the marketing director of Biospringer Asia Pacific. Today, he will talk about one of the hottest topics in the country, in this industry, and that is how to reduce salt in formulations. For many companies, salt reduction is tricky and difficult. But is it really? Well, Hugo has the answer. And let us all welcome him as he explains Biospringer's Bespoke salt reduction solution. Let's welcome him. And Hugo, please, you may have the floor now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hugo Leclercq. I'm in charge of marketing for Asia Pacific for Biospringer, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to our today's session, which is titled Bespoke Salt Reduction Solution by Biospringer in Asia Pacific. So in terms of content, I will introduce quickly our presentation contents and Biospringer company. Then I will review market and consumer insights linked to that salt reduction topic. And of course, we will review some technical background and value proposition thanks to Biospringer technical development and content. So who we are today, our mission, the mission of Biospringer is to create innovative and natural origin ingredients from yeast fermentation. Indeed, our main know-how, we are a very historical company group, 160 years old, and our main know-how depends on, rely on the yeast fermentation. So it means that everything is starting from the living yeast, on which we are capable to create some tastier and healthier food ingredients, while we are also reliable and respectful to the planet and people. In a way, we are then creating responsible taste. And this is thanks to our innovative products, and this will be a part of the content of today's presentation, on which we could claim some very strong functionality and capability into the salt reduction. Then it's also translating into the technology forerunner in natural origin ingredients. As I just mentioned to you, we are all, in Biospringer, we are starting, and the main raw material remains the living yeast, which is provided by our mother company, Le Safre. Of course, taste is the heart of Biospringer promise and commitment to any of our prospects, partners, and customers. And finally, we are a minimally reliable and friendly environmental process, which I will explain in the next coming minutes. In terms of Biospringer presence at the regional and the global side, you could see that we are having a deep presence in Asia Pacific. And the aim is really to identify market needs and to address consequently some specific solutions delivered to the regional taste capabilities. How do we do so? We are having a strong tailor-made capabilities at the regional side and global side as well. So we are having a local presence in Singapore, headquarters of Asia Pacific, on which we are having very close relationship with our development factories, R&D capabilities located in China, which allow to be very reactive and to be developing tailor-made solutions for the customers. Of course, the aim is to improve taste by also developing new formulations. We are having a regional taste strategy on which we need to be closer to our Asian Pacific customers and markets, depending on taste profile expectations. This thing is going through innovation development and products. And again, today will be a part of these solutions to be delivered and to be shared to you during this webinar. Globally speaking, we are having a presence in Europe with our central R&D, also in North America, South America as well. And we have a deep connection with all these culinary centers, again, which are having the same mission, really, to develop new formulations and to be part of the regional taste strategy. In terms of yeast extract, I'm going to start with a quick introduction of the way to produce the best yeast extract coming from Biospringer. As I was mentioning to you, everything is starting from our raw material, the living yeast. And this living yeast is coming from our mother company, Le Safre, which is a very strong company in terms of know-how for the understanding of the yeast. We have different type of yeast, different type of way to make growing the yeast, which is called fermentation. So the aim, the first step is really rely on the quality of the yeast during that key process in order to obtain the best characteristics of the yeast in terms of properties. Indeed, the yeast is rich into two types of compounds, which are the carbohydrates and the proteins. So we are having some close understanding from Biospringer and Le Safre in order for them to build up the best yeast enriched in the proteins compound. So the aim is really to have a good growth of the yeast population, but on which characteristics will be very important into the proteins compound and then much lower in carbohydrates, sugars. So once we are having this very strong, good composition yeast, the aim is to extract these non-taste compounds, the proteins compounds, and to, let's say, transform it into natural taste active compounds. How do we do so? We do it through the second step, which is called the breakage. The breakage consists in making a solubilization of these yeast contents, so the orange compound you could see over the screen, by having a quick thermal heating treatment which activates some natural enzymes, which aim will be to cut and to solubilize this orange internal compound, and from non-taste active compounds to make it under taste active compounds. And today we will see some of it in terms of composition in order to reach high umami profile. So this is a key part on which we are having very key parameters influence for this efficiency of breakage step, like the pH, these enzymes, the time, the temperature, and so on. So once the breakage part is done, we're going to have a separation step. So it means that we're going to separate the heavy molecular weight. So this is a green part, what is called cell wall. This is the skin of the yeast, to the orange part, which is the yeast extract, the yeast content, the taste active compound. How do we do so? We do so through centrifugation. So this is a high-speed mechanical separation. And by the differences of molecular weight, we will have heavy molecular weight, which will be cell walls, the green parts, and the light phase, which will be the yeast extract. And this is these compounds which will be bringing up some benefits among the different applications Biospringer will develop among the different segments as instant noodles, seasoning, snacks, ready meals, vegan, meat analogs, and so on. So we keep this yeast extract compound, and then we go through the downstream process steps, which consist in step by step having a concentration. So we remove the water step by step. We sometimes add some salt in the process, which is claimed, of course, on the final product labeling, in order to reach out three types of yeast extract shapes, either liquid, around 50-60% dry matter, paste, 60 to 75% dry matter, and powder, over 94% dry matter. So all these shapes can be used depending the expectation from our customers, whether it goes into sauces, seasonings, so it means dry or wet basis at the end. So this is to give you again a first overview of how we do yeast extract among that process. In terms of consumer and market insights linked to the salt reduction, we've been doing a mapping on the situation in Asia Pacific. So today you could see that overall speaking, the average daily salt intake is almost double than the WHO recommendation, which is 5 grams per day. The aim is to share to you the actual picture of some of the key countries in terms of salt intake, overall speaking, and some local actions which are already engaged by organizations and governments. So the first example is India. India, overall speaking, the mean salt intake is 9 grams per day, which is quite much over than the WHO recommendation. But again, we can see some already action ongoing. And the main one is the Eat Right movement, which has been already launched from 2018 by the Food Safety Standards Authority of India, the FSSAI, on which there is some clear guidelines to reduce within the next 5 years by 20-25% the salt intake in any kind of the food formulation. Then we have another example in Thailand, which is even higher in terms of mean salt intake, 13 grams per day for Thai people. And again, we have some local, let's say, local actions for salt and sodium reduction policy, which has been set up by the Thailand government. Another one, much more smaller country, but quite also innovation hub and taking care about health and nutrition solutions for the population. This is Singapore, 9 grams per day. And we have already a few years, so 10 years back, different movements launched already locally, War on Salt, healthier choice symbol on the labeling and packaging, and Finest Food program as well. Indonesia, massive country in terms of population, 9 grams also, huge consumers in terms of instant noodles, very, top one all over the world. National action plan on NCDs already from 2015-19 and relaunched from 2020 to 2024. Finally, even the premium countries, I would say, more advanced in terms of innovation for premiumization of labeling, also in advance for nutrition and health program, Australia, 9 grams per day. And they also launched last year a salt reformulation program for 27 food categories in which they were baking and also processed meat especially. So you could see that overall speaking, there is let's say some awareness from local governments to know that local population does eat too much salt and then sodium, and there are some actions to encourage to engage more with food processors to cut partially the salt and sodium inside of the formulation. And this is where we're going to start from today's in terms of value proposition from Biospringer. In terms of source of sodium in key segments, I was mentioning a few examples from the past slides. We've been having some, let's say, historical and then moving on picture of the situation. Everything has been starting historically from the sauces and gravies for Asia Pacific market, especially soy sauce, oyster sauce, fish sauce. You could see over that sauce consumption, which is huge. Let's say it's probably the top 3 segments consumption over the Asian Pacific market. Then it is deeply containing, highly containing salt at the end. Soy sauce overall contains 15 to 17, 18% of salt. So historically, it's coming from that segments, and then it has been expanded to the processed meat and seafood. And we know that processed meat and seafood are more and more consumed over these Asian Pacific countries as well, but also having these snacks trends, which becomes a very mass market approach in which salt plays a huge role, and salt inside is quite important, overall 10, 12, 15%, sometimes 15% content salt inside of this seasonings recipe. And then now, moving on, we're having a new trend, which is emerging, which is concerning one of the top fastest food segments we can see over the past 2-3 years, which does concern the meat and seafood analogs, but also the dairy analogs, but especially the vegan way meat and seafood one. The salt is coming from the plant-based as is, so it means that depending the type and the process of plant-based, you can have already quite high salt and sodium content, but it's also linked to the seasoning behind. We know that there is a big challenge for manufacturers to cover the off notes and then to bring back taste. And how do they do so? How this formulation is happening? By adding quite too much salt in a way. You need to really cover off notes coming from the pea, from the soy, from any kind of plant proteins used locally, and then to mimic the real taste as is if you will be eating, for example, the meat of the seafood. So it means that the salt is a key important and key ingredient player over the formulation. So this is really the moving way from historical background to now, depending the 5 segments which we could see on which the salt is quite too important and then needs to be cut in this kind of formulation. So the aim is to bring a value proposition, or at least the technical solutions developed by Biospringer, which is the Springer umami product. So what is umami? The umami is a 5th taste. This is aside from sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. And it does describe something which is very pleasant, mouthfeel, lingering, what we call long-lasting over the time. So this is really a stimulation, salivation, and activates some of the brain's pleasure zones. So this is, of course, very widely known and very well spread over the Asian Pacific cuisine and cooking techniques, and also linked to the fermentation. So how yeast extract contributes to salt reduction is thanks to this very much high umami intensity product. Indeed, Biospringer is capable to build up this specific yeast extract umami product, which is all related to the specific composition behind. Indeed, we have a complex composition of 3 main biochemical compounds, which are amino acids. So these amino acids, the 3 amino acids, are coming from the degradation of the proteins. I was speaking about the yeast, the importance of the yeast to be rich in proteins. And from that proteins, we can naturally generate some specific nature and content of amino acids. Then, of course, there are nucleotides, the natural origin nucleotides, also coming from a specific compound from the yeast itself, and also peptides, which are also coming from the proteins origin, depending how these natural origin enzymes will be able to cut the proteins. So we have this very good composition synergy between that 3 biochemical compounds. So they are working together, and then they deliver the long-lasting umami taste, which will then contribute to the salt reduction. And some of the performance Biospringer could achieve with Springer umami is up to 30% salt reduction. The aim here is to translate that umami solution into the 4 key segments on which there is some very high challenge to break the salt content down among the Asian Pacific markets. These segments, what are they? They are instant meal seasonings, snack seasoning mixes, processed meat, fish and analogs, sauces and dressings. And the aim for me today will be to bring some technical view about our solution in terms of technical development, which has been done by our food technologies experts at the Culinary Center Singapore, in order to share more about these intakes. So the first one concerns the soups and broth, on which we've been able to develop some Italian herbs chicken flavor seasonings. So we've been capable to cut by 15% the salt reduction by usage of 0.7% of this Springer Umami product. And as you could see over on the spider charts here, we are capable to bring a strong umami. The strong umami will give you some very much long lasting performance, already to come back to the overall mouthfeel also, and still keeping your original Italian herbs profile. So by also still highlighting the chicken flavor. So the aim is really to overcompensate the lack of chicken and Italian herbs profile flavor you are having because of the 15% salt reduction, then to compensate by bringing this umami up, and then to even have a better profile than expected, initially speaking. We also mentioned on that slide some sodium content per serving, on which you would switch from 413 milligram reference to then 351 milligram by having this 15% salt reduction. Another example, still in the same category, but this time is a wet application. The first one was dry, more for the Indonesian market. The second one is wet, so this is a wet noodles in a way. Beef flavored instant noodle soup seasoning. Same way of working, we are capable to reach out 15% salt reduction by using this time 3% of that product in this seasoning mix. So the aim is, again, we are losing a specific flavor note. We are using saltiness because of this 15% reduction. So this is the blue area in this spider chart. And the aim is really to come back to the initial way, so the full salt, but even to see whether we can be better than this one. And that is translated with better umami, long-lasting profile, slightly highlighting the meaty notes also coming from the beef, and the long-lasting consequently. Same way of doing as before, we are referring here to the sodium content savings at the end. Moving on, chicken flavored chip seasonings on the snacks and seasonings category, we are reaching out this time 20% salt reduction. We are using 2% of that product, and again, we are capable to compensate, to overcome this challenge of lack of saltiness, lack of initial flavor profile, in order to bring back the proper chicken flavor and long-lasting richness notes, which can be obtained by this usage of Springer Umami products, and still 20% salt reduction. So this is for this snack and seasonings category. I talked about historical segments, sauces. Here we have a very good example for APAC markets, the light soy sauce, which is quite high in terms of salt content, around 15-17% initially speaking. And again, we can reach out 30% of salt reduction with 0.3 Springer Umami products. So you can see this is very low dosage, very high concentration of umami, allows this kind of application dosage, which is able then to bring back strong umami, which is of course well appreciated by consumers for the soy sauce, but also having these lingering fermented notes at the end. And so this is still improve product performance at the end. Then the last segments on which we've been developing capabilities, the plant-based. We are having two examples here. The plant-based chickenless nuggets, on which we could reduce by 20% this time the sodium content by using 0.7% of this product, so still quite a low dosage. Same way of working than before. We are even capable to compensate and to bring back this long-lasting, to boost up this chicken flavor thanks to the umami composition and the richness of the product. So again, 20% salt reduction. Then the last one will be the plant-based luncheon meat. This is quite local application, quite famous for Asian Pacific people, on which we could reach out 25% salt reduction. Same way of working, as you could see some improvement over the spider charts in the umaminess, in the long-lasting savouriness and meaty notes by adding 1% of the Springer umami product. So just to give you a sum up of this Springer umami solutions, this is giving you high natural umami expectations because of the composition. So it is then reinforcing flavor and mouthfeel, long lasting. This is then a key tool for salt reduction, and this is examples we've been seeing by still reaching 20-25% salt reduction of application today. This is also good for masking of notes from salt alternatives, some KCL you can use sometimes in the formulation. So this umami will cover this off notes. And this is, of course, in terms of product attributes, clean label, GMO-free, natural and vegan products. So in terms of sum up and just to highlight some key benefits of yeast extracts, taste improvement, we saw it today, LCO formulation, which can be achieved by onto the salt reduction, clean label. We have also a range of organic ingredients, vegan and vegetarian compliance, off-note masking, as I was mentioning, to some of the salt substitutes as KCN. Product guarantee, 100% vegan, natural, GMO-free, kosher and halal certified. So thanks for your attendance today. I was very pleased to introduce this webinar to you. I hope it has been brought some fruitful information to you. Please do not hesitate to reach us out. If you want to have any other formulations, please scan the QR code. And I'm very pleased to see you in a few seconds to reply to your questions you have following this session. Thanks again, and I will see you in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, Hugo. Please come to join our platform for live Q&A. Yes, you have to attend this, and the Q&A mode button is on your right-hand side in the chat box.
Hello, Jack. Thanks.
Okay. Let's clear out the previous questions, and let's do ours.
Sure, thanks. So we do have a first question here on how do we differentiate the Springer umami solution from the common salt reduction solutions such as KCL. So the first thing is KCL is considered as a food additive. So as a food additive, this is a E number, whereas yeast extract is a clean label solution. So there is no E number behind the fact to use yeast extract. Then top of it, I would say that when it's applied in any kind of food formulation, the KCL can bring some metallic off notes. And in that case, the yeast extract is also capable to overcome and to mask this undesirable off notes, which is brought by KCL, and then to also, let's say, bring back the natural umami feeling sensation and the salt perception, which provides also the long lasting. So we are having a very different way of working here, whereas the KCL is used to substitute NaCl, I mean the salt and sodium, whereas the yeast extract can work with the salt to enhance this salt sensation and feeling consequently.
That's wonderful.
Then if we have a second question here. So what are your views on the salt content for instant noodles? Do you think there is any area of improvements? Do you have any success stories with your customers and partners? Of course, if we look at the Asian Pacific picture, instant noodles is a huge and mass market, which does represent a very commodity and daily intake for any Asian people, especially Indonesia, Vietnam, also India, which are the main, I would say, consumers in terms of instant noodles. So the challenge is really to contribute to a clean and healthy formulation for that guys, knowing that overall the overall intake and in terms of sodium content per portion of instant noodles is between 800 milligram to 1,400 milligram. So there is a challenge to reformulate, and that's what we can see over the trend in Indonesia by also instant noodles manufacturers using vitamins, minerals enrichment. And the aim is really to participate to that reformulation challenge by still bringing up a good taste and to bring back the initial taste profile as the consumers are expecting to have. So the way that the umami solution from Biospringer can really come up to, let's say, come back to this upfront notes, middle and long lasting at the same time while reducing the main salt intake. So that's the way these products, thanks to the composition, it's working onto. Then in terms of success story, I would also stick to some local regional challenge on which we could share some success story behind, linked to the soy sauce products and markets. In the soy sauce, there is a lot of sodium, 15 to 17%, depending the type of soy sauce on which there is the dark soy sauce, the fresh, the umami soy sauce, and so on. But overall speaking, we could reduce by 30% this sodium content among that recipes, and still taking care about this very significant saltiness, sharpness in terms of front note, which is very important for consumers, and also by still having and bringing up this umami soy sauce long lasting thanks to that product solution.
All right.
Another question here.
By the way, delegates, we need more questions to go because Mr. Hugo speaks really fast, right? So we need some more questions. Yeah, if you want to share your ideas in the chat box too. Okay, Hugo, now go this one.
Thank you, Jack. So another one, and I will then speak slowly. Knowing that achieving clean label is a common challenge faced the food industry, how did you contribute to help them achieving this goal to meet consumers' demand? So again, Biospringer presence in Asia Pacific does translate the way that we need to be closer to customers and manufacturers' expectation. And this sodium reduction is historical challenge, but we were not able to bring the right solutions, the local and regional right solutions to them. So that's why we took the time to step back and to really identify, as explained during the presentation, which segments were the most important on which we could address, the right technical solution to them by still collaborating with these formulators, experts, with some partners, with some of startups. So the aim was really to study the main key taste profile, the main salt and sodium content behind, and being sure that we could stick back to this regional initial taste expected by any of our prospects and partners. So finally, we could reach this functional and sustainable solution among different segments, which are really the top priority segments, because this is really the day-to-day food for any of Asian people, such as instant noodles and soy sauce, as we were mentioning just before.
All right, let's come to the last question.
Thank you, Jack. So for the last question, does this extract contribute to nutritional benefits while it is being used in food applications? Yeast extract composition is mainly proteins. And in that proteins, you've got, of course, this essential amino acids. So we've got all these essential amino acids. So the answer is yes, but from the other side, we are also here to bring to limit the cost in use impact for any of formulations and manufacturers we are working with. So, of course, it can be good for a nutritional composition because, again, this is made from amino acids. From the side, the dosage is quite low, so it will not increase significantly the nutritional view and compounds in your formulation. From the other side, we are also working in terms of innovation to play a next and future role in proteins and nutritional values, because we are also right now having a new product, which is a yeast protein. So it means this is 75-80% proteins amount, and the aim is to play a role as a protein provider. So it means that the yeast extract can be used in the common way to still take care and being sure that the taste benefits are here, but also from having a wider product range with this kind of new product development, yeast protein to also contribute as nutritional benefits in some of applications.
All right. I believe that's the end of our Q&A today. I would like to hear some conclusion for your presentation today.
So thanks for attending this webinar with us. And again, we are pleased to address some dedicated regional solution to the market. And of course, we were pleased to have this exposure with Ringier Events, which was our host during that webinar. So thanks to the team and Jack for your organization.
Yes, of course. And think about, we could have some customized webinar next time, maybe.
Of course.
Thank you for your time, Hugo. I'm looking forward to see you attending our future events too. Thanks for your time and the great presentation you're sharing.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks to all.
Okay, delegates, also say goodbye to Mr. Hugo. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Hugo. I believe that we can all take some All right. Thank you, delegates in our different channels. Okay. I've heard that I've a little disconnection a while ago, right? Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for your good feedback. And for other delegates that saw me that have the little break a while ago, disconnected, I will make my conclusion again today. Thank you all, everyone, for joining today. My name is Jack, your host today. We have to say sorry. We have to very sorry to say goodbye that our conference has come to the end. On behalf of the Ringier Events organization team, thank you to all our participants who joined us in this interesting and refreshing virtual conference. We hope that you gain new insights and make new friends here. We are here to making new friends today, right? Please also feel free to give us your feedback and your comments by going to the feedback page on the left-hand side on the menu. We're eager to know you better and so that we can make it better for you in the future. Also, welcome to give your applause to the speakers today. Go to there by filling in your compliment in the forms too. To our guest speakers, business partners, Kerry, and association supporters, we appreciate you spending your time with us today and for the great, insightful presentation you share with us. Everyone, you may still visit this booth and interact with other delegates and our speakers. As I keep mentioning, this platform, the booth, the live stream video room, the conference room, it will turn to playback video room later. Will be always open for you. You can come back after today, making new friends, exchange your contact information. That'd be great. At last, if you are interested in Husky's the right PET injection solution, flexible system to be competitive in a world demanding packaging viability. Webinar taking place on November 16, next Tuesday. You will learn about how selecting the right system can help you take advantage of evolving market challenges and turn them into opportunities. I also put the link, the login link, the registration link in the chat box. Please scroll up a little bit, find the text named Husky. Once again, thank you everyone for gracing our virtual conference today. We can't wait to welcome you back in our next Future Beverage Summit next year. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy, stay tasty. Bye-bye. My name's Jack from Ringier Events. See you in our future event. Bye-bye.